From the edge of the sea, from the edge of time,
I have a
back
complaint
into
that time of day when we've been out doing everything and she just complains a bit before.
This is Harbor Town.
You always think you're prepared, and you're just not.
Harbor Town is an all-new
Exactly.
series
Yep.
from Miniature Building Authority, the leader in tabletop gaming scene. Unique, flexible, and playable, Harbor Town will take your games to a new
I don't know what's wrong, Minnie. We've had treats, food, dinner, walks, everything. It's not complaints.
Do you guys hear me? Uncheck. You guys hear us in hear Anna and me?
Yeah, I need to open the chat window.
All right, that's good. Cool. Hope you guys had a great game today, man. Eagles did not have a good game. That was painful. Look at that, Grendelwolf's Lair, a brand new name for Lord Grendelwolf. I like it. Awesome. Woo.
Hi, Geek Days. Yep. Pop out chat.
I got so many books here, guys, and I'm like, ugh. I was like, oh my god, this is. You'll understand it in a couple minutes here.
It's called being over-sponsored.
All right, now let's see here. Which one next? Let's do. All right, our stratagem giveaway is Thursday, guys. So, hopefully the stratagem stuff for the month shows up. Hasn't yet, but they're usually pretty reliable. Keep this one for about 30 seconds.
I'm doing well. It's 82 degrees or 85 degrees here in Southern California. Sun shining and it's great. So yeah. And I'll see if I can do a little bit of mapping while we're doing this too. And Gaetano is here too. Awesome.
Yes,
Awesome.
Gaetano Gaetano signed up for one of my games at PAX Unplugged already.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I get a chance to
You're gonna meet the whole. We're gonna meet a lot of people in a couple months,
that-
month and a half. It's gonna be awesome.
Yep, that was
right.
so much fun. Yep.
Here's my. Only running this once, Rob. Trying to get a new vid instead of making the announcement, but haven't cracked that nut yet. We're working on it. Judge's Guild did classic stuff back in the day, you know? It just was like...
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, a third-party company making D&D stuff, you know? So...
They were one of the first third-party publishers out there.
Yep, absolutely. And then Necromancer Games bought all their stuff. The third edition came out.
Yeah, because I never heard from them since, so to speak. So, but have they relaunched some of that?
Well, they did, and then I think Frog God took over all their stuff. I'm not sure if anything's been new. I know there's been some re-releases.
Okay, yeah.
Specialty priests and their deities and Greyhawk and their specialty priests tonight. I feel we're going to be bouncing all over the place, but that's what we do here, right?
I'm here, and I didn't have that much time to prepare.
Yes, Anna had no time to prepare. Anna's kind of like an emergency filler tonight. I really appreciate you hopping on because I had my guys had some technical difficulties, so I get to beat them later or kill them off on Thursday.
Yep. So I
kidding.
can tell you guys that he messaged me on Discord like 5 minutes ago, or it was like 15 minutes ago, but my battery was so bad that I couldn't text him back, so my phone literally died when I fired up Discord. I saw the notification, but when I logged in with the phone with like 5% battery life back, so then it died. So I had to wait until I got into the desktop of my computer and tell Jay that I can be on, and that was like 5 minutes ago or
That
8
was
minutes.
so awesomely cool. All right, here we go. And everything is working properly. Hey, I'm Jay, aka Lurk Zumba, and I got the great Anna Meyer on with me tonight. Thank you so very much, Anna, for coming on and filling
you're welcome. It's always fun to be on. So we'll see how much I can contribute to the topic of today. So we'll see. Yeah.
You will absolutely will. This was by request of multiple people. I know Rox was interested. Elestrion, I think he's on too. I know Geek Dice is looking forward to this discussion, and a couple of my players as well. We did one 40 episodes ago. We just talked about specialty priests. We didn't link it to the deities. This one's kind of be a little different. This will be deities and the specialty priests. So guys, I don't want to scare you, and I put this over on the side now, but I got some new alert boxes because everyone's complaining about the pink hearts, right? Everyone's complaining about that. So here we go. So I got some scenes from some old TV shows and movies, and look, now it's not working.
He has a new gizmo.
It didn't pop up.
About that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh damn! It didn't work.
It didn't work. It did not work. 1 second. Oh my gosh. The recent event, the fence thing didn't come up here. Let me try this one. Some Celtic music and stuff. So I got to do two of them.
Now you can do all sorts.
I got all sorts of gifs and stuff. I'm getting good with this now. I got one more to do here, and then we're all caught up in our turtle. Oh no, we are caught up on our turtle now. New toys, absolutely. It's only been a year and a half, so I finally got that figured out too. So guys, tonight we're going to discuss. And we'll start with the deities, and then I'm going to try and explain how I created a second edition specialty priest from scratch for you. We'll go over that at some point. But I gave Anna a list, and I think
I have it up here on
cool.
So
like
I have
Sean
the reference.
has seen this. It was in my binder for Gen Con, and I always have it for PAX. This is the list this is our reference of specialty priests that we've made, and here's the list of deities. Now there's 39 on this list, so we've created 39 of their own unique classes. Now, believe it or not, they're not all Greyhawk deities. We'll talk about mostly Greyhawk deities, but we can talk about some of the others. And it goes back to the beginning of time, before, and I have them all in this book here. But before these came out in the Dragon magazine, and then Earth Arcana. Didn't know much about the Greyhawk deities, but we had this, and guys, this is the 128 version. My 145 or whatever version is hidden away. So we had this. There was a lot of gods in here, and a couple of them we use to this day still out of this book. So I got
that's the original thing that is.
Deities and demigods was great, and we kind of went to the Finnish mythos for the most part. Yes, absolutely. One for each year, almost. Yeah, you're right. We do have 39 years, 39. We got to do another one up then for next year, coming around the corner. Absolutely, that's it. And so Lord Grendelwolf changed his name, obviously, to Grendelwolf's Lair. So we see that on there, and that's cool. So I got some other. I got new sub, new raid, all that thing. If we get some of them, you'll see them pop up. And I got some Celtic music now instead of the cheesy ding 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 music. You know, it sounds like we're at an arcade somewhere. So there are a lot of deities in Greyhawk that no one was interested in. This list got developed based on interest of my players. I guess that's the best way to explain it. Like what they wanted to play as far as priests go. And there's not many. There's some, but there's not many demi-human deities on here. It's mostly all human. But do you have a favorite, Anna, that you like either to play or you have in your campaign?
Well, I have the plenty of the good ones like Hieronymus and Pelor and Triterion, not that much, but to some degree, but he's a little bit. First of all, I don't like the symbol much. It's too much of
Rune
a
of Pursuit.
swastika like for me. So I try to see if I can swirl it, but that's just oversensitivities, stupidities. I know that it shouldn't be. Even the swastika has other uses in India and stuff. So that's just my personal kind of. But I like
True.
I love the idea of having a freedom fighter god, so to speak. It's a good antidote of all the evil ones out there. But so I love them. And Mayahin, then you have Cuthbert is one that simply one of the most common one from Hamlet and all that. So that was the first kind of interesting. And he's a bit of a goofy one with his crumpled hat and the cudgel and stuff like that. So he's kind of so there's a whole bunch of interesting characters in the among the deities. But then I have Mayahin and some of the new cult like good ones that I've started to use in newer my latest campaigns, and so
Well,
they're
here's a question on Mayheen. You say Mayheen, I say Mayheen. It's funny how that always happens.
it's kind of it's just because it's my Swedish going through. So
That's
to speak.
okay.
So Mayahin, yeah.
So we'll start right there. Mayheen.
Yeah.
There's no pictures whatsoever.
No,
at all. So let's go. I'll scroll the symbol up here if I can, if that's working, or am I like 0 for 20 here? Oh, that's the alert box. All right. Oh, there we go. Mayheen. So Mayheen, that's the only symbol I can find anywhere. I think that's a 3rd edition symbol. I don't think I know of Mayheen until 2nd edition.
No, exactly. I think it came in late, and actually, it's one of these I'm starting to explore. I don't know that much, but
right.
So for me, I needed something that was kind of cool, good, and could be kind of a good cult kind of thing. So for me, I put them in a little bit of the same type of god, like Cuthbert, someone that I envisioned actually was a living human being back in and then became so powerful and ascended into godhood, so to speak, back in the day. The other ones are to me much older gods that have been around forever.
Yes.
And so to me it was I needed something that was kind of fresh and good and stuff for my campaign. So I envision it more like a culting, someone that belongs and is on very favorable terms with Palor and the other good gods, but it's new fresh force, so to speak.
So if you know anything about lore, I know a little bit. I'm not a lore master like
Me neither.
Icarus
Yeah,
is.
we need Alan or Mike Bridges
Right.
and
But I
those kind of
know
people.
this. The 3 factions of deities in Hardby that are worshipped, Mayheen has recently come in.
Yep.
Excuse me. So the main family that worships them is the Longlands, and that's a huge part of my campaign. And it actually in the last one, Michael Baton is missing. All the Longland characters in that are all Mayheen worshippers. In fact, we have a specialty priest and a crusader of Mayheen in that. But if I'm looking through all these books, so here's the books we're talking about. This one, all throughout all the articles, right? And then my pieces of the From the Ashes, right, where I got a couple notes in here. You can see that this thing's beaten. You know, the covers have long since fallen off. There's no mention of Mayheen anywhere, any of this.
No, exactly. I think it's part of the
But I love Mayheen. Yes. So Geek has mentioned a couple others. Some things about Mayheen that I like that are cool, and like I said, I got books, guys. You're gonna have to bear with me all over the place here because as we go through, Mayheen's got a limited spell list, but got some decent abilities. And when you think about the deity granting powers to their worshippers or their specialty priests, as you could say, I look at what their abilities are. And then that they can do once per day or whatever under the deity. So, for example, in addition to their spell lists, at 3rd level, they can cast protection from evil 10-foot radius. And here's a cool thing: it's once per day with double duration. And I think 10-foot that spell is 1 turn per level. It's a huge defensive spell. And so I have an NPC specialty priest, Kiri Longland. She always casts that in a key fight. It stays on for a long time. They get go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, your specialty priest, is that the same class that you will apply to player characters who will be
Oh yeah,
clerics and
absolutely.
NPCs?
Oh
You
yeah,
you run
absolutely.
them exactly the same that
Absolutely,
way. Yeah,
absolutely,
from a
exactly the
mechanic
same.
standpoint. Okay, yeah.
Definitely. And this is one of the combat priest classes that gets some fighter ability. So
Yeah.
they get 3 attacks every 2 rounds at 8th level, and at
Mhm.
13th they get 2 every 1. So
Yeah.
not as good as a fighter, but awfully
Yeah.
darn
And
close.
your specialty priest, yeah, they also get proficiency with the weapon of their deity, so to speak. The
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
here let me just pop this up here real quick. Normally I'll have so here's what I'm talking about. This is our priesthood. This is not the spell list. The spell list is separate. The priesthood of Mayheen specialty powers and abilities. So we have weapons, armor, all here. So for example, under weapons, longsword, longbow, swords, all mace, flail, staff, lance, armor, chainmail or better, and then the major minor spheres. So the turning abilities, magical items they can use, minimum abilities is all on this page, along with all the special abilities that they get. So their big special ability is the following. Their spell list is extremely limited because I think Mayheen's, you know how, if you know anything about deities of Greyhawk, like Ayus, the priest of Ayus cannot get 7th level spells because he's from technically
But yeah,
the
the
prime material.
demigods. So there was you had to be, what was it, greater gods to have the
Greater,
ninth level, and lesser gods with that 8th level spells,
well,
and
it's
then
actually
demigods.
in 1E2, it's 7th is max. It's 7th.
Okay.
7th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
7, 6,
Yeah,
5th.
clerics is 7. Yeah. Mhm.
So here's a thing about certain gods that may be a detriment. Demigods only can go up to 5th level, lesser 6th, with some exceptions, and
Uh-huh.
greater
Yeah.
7th. But
Yeah.
Mayheen only goes up to 5th because it's a demigod of
Mhm.
Palor, if I recall
Yeah.
correctly, Mayheen. But
Yeah, okay.
here's their special ability.
Mhm.
9th level. They get to use 6th level spells from spheres of protection and wards as if it was a 5th level spell. So now they have just added 6th level spells into their 5th level spell capability. So they're actually casting 6th level clerical spells at 9th when they get up to 9th level now. So that's a huge ability. So see, this is where it's cool about with the specialty
Yeah.
priests.
Yeah.
Mayheen's granted protection and wards to this because she's the goddess of that sphere. So that's a good one to start off the discussion with. How that through references, you gotta do a couple things. You got to make sure that it's balanced, and you got to make sure that it doesn't go beyond any of the others. It's kind of a feel out to do it. It's not the
Yeah.
easiest thing in the world to do, and Forgotten Realms ones are way more powerful base and specialty priests than this is where you got to be really careful because we've done this. We've done a lot of like conversions over.
Do you allow the same full plate and all the same armors on all specialty priests, or that up to whatever deity? Or
It depends on the deities. I'll
Okay,
give you an
yeah.
example. One of my favorites, Len Lakofka deity.
Oh, see, now you've done it.
I did it already.
Yes.
We'll go right to her. And I love this class. This deity's awesome. Ouija, or Ouija, as Leonard
Oh
says.
yes, yeah. It's
Okay, a great one. That's a good question, Rox. I'll answer that in a second. That's a really good question that you just brought up. So Ouija has one of the largest spell lists that there is. Her armor, Brian!
Hi.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, now
awesome.
I don't have to be here. Now you can.
No, you're good. You're
no,
good.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Brian and his wife's in the background. So she open windows?
She's closing the window.
I really appreciate it. So I put the general call out in panic mode, and I got 2 responses. So thank you. Thank you so very much. Oh, there we go. A new host. You like that?
Oh.
Shield wall. Skag, thanks. Vikings, you got Ada, Skageth, you had to love that. So, yes, perfect. Thank you. Like I said, I changed up all my GIFs and all my sounds and stuff. So Brian's going to do the following. He's going to link multiple times his Obsidian portal in, and then we're going to talk about some of that too. And we're going to talk about 5e too, guys. So Rocks, I'm sorry, if Naz comes on and any of the other people who are 5eers, Brian's going to show you something he's got too. Special abilities for all worshippers that we actually use in our campaign game that Anna and I play in when Brian DMs. So, do you have Ouija on your list, Brian?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah,
there
that's
you go.
one
Of
of
course. So, Anna's question was, how about armor? Ouija. Ready, Anna? None.
Yep.
0. No armor.
Wow. So then you give them more spells or other
Right.
abilities
So
to compensate?
weapons are terrible. Dagger, staff, knife, sling, dart, and caltrops only. Okay.
Okay. They must have one hell of a spell list then, or
Turn
number of
undead,
spells.
turn at normal level. They cannot command, only if allowed by Ouija herself. Ouija is the goddess of death, not undead, right? So,
Yep.
yes, thanks, Skyga. Thanks for that host, man. I really appreciate it. Hey, we got 2 out of the 6 new GIFs out. Hopefully we'll get the other 4. One of them's tough, the donation one. It's kind of funny, though. So here's the big thing with Ouija, or Ouija, according to Leonard. At 5th level,
Yeah, Ouija.
they have a huge spell list because they have a ton of spheres. Ton. They have one of the largest spell lists of any of the specialty priests we have. But at 5th level, they can add via a spell book 1st and 2nd level necromancer spells to their book from our campaign from the necromancer class. So now they have all these other spells. Yes. What is it?
Don't let that derail you. That's I'll talk about it when you're done with this.
So, and that allows them to do something unique to certain specialty priests in the campaign, and that is they get the spell Spectral Hand. And if anyone remembers that spell from a necromancer, Spectral Hand, that's when a hand can go out up to 200 yards away from the spellcaster and do touch spells through.
Yep.
This is a priest that has healing spells. She can now cast a Spectral Hand, stay where she is, and have the hand go out and heal people during fights. A huge advantage for especially priestess or priest of Ouija. At 8th level, they get 3rd and 4th level necromancer spell capability. Now they have to find these spells just like they were a spellcaster, and they can only use so many based on each level. But that's the Ouija big specialty priest, but they're extremely limited in armor and combat. And that's just the way it is for them. They're not a combat class, but this is one of the most efficient healers in the game for us because they don't have to run up to the character and touch them to heal them, as that you did in 1E, 2E. So yes. So cool, guys. Let's see. Len, blessed be, absolutely. So what's your special ability for Ouija, Brian?
So let me post this here.
What's going on there, Tom?
People can play the game at home.
There you go. Deities, a Greyhawk, and you want to go down to lawful neutral, I believe. Ouija.
Yep. So each of the priests gets a flavor piece and a what's it called? A mechanical piece. So the flavor piece is necromantic respect. There's nothing inherently wrong with necromancy, but you're less likely to correct some of those necromantic deeds. The main thing is, making sure that necromancy went about the right ways,
right.
Talking about ahead of time, that kind of stuff there. Did you sign the waivers at deathbed? So their mechanical piece is, as a ritual, you call forth a corpse or a soul of a corpse. Can't be somebody that's undead within 10 feet, and you can pose a question. So it's essentially a lesser speak with dead. It allows people to have a speak with dead beyond, a caster. So it's, just opens it up a little bit. It's restricted to corpses versus like ghosts and that kind of stuff as well. So
cool.
And for me, it would there's a bit of the corpse versus a skeleton. It wouldn't work on a skeleton. Corpse it would. So
that is awesome. And do you have any we did Mayheen as well already. What's Mayheen's?
Mayheen. I remember Mayhem being one of the ones I liked. So Young Faith is the roleplay aspect. When you have a disagreement with followers of another good aligned god, you're more likely to bow to them just because uh, they're a more established religion than
Yes,
what
it's
you
true.
are, as long as it doesn't compromise your morals. So,
Awesome. So, like Paylor or any of the other lawful goods for the most part.
yep.
Awesome, man.
And then as a reaction, so Mayheen's Bulwark, as a reaction, you can increase AC by 1 when you're a target of a weapon attack. That goes up every time your proficiency bonus goes up. So once your proficiency bonus goes up at level 5, it goes from a +1 to a +2. These are always once a day, or sorry, not once a day, once a long rest.
Right.
So,
Yes, guys. So take a look at it, and I'll have Brian keep on linking his Obsidian portal for all these references. It's all right there, and it's a 5 each, right? It's so fantastic. So we'll get some old school in here, and we'll get some 5e in here, and with that, we'll get some 3.5. So you'll get all
And
the
yeah,
different abilities you possibly
Okay,
can do for
yeah.
all the
Mhm.
different
Yeah.
the different types of
so since you asked, Jay,
edition.
I did link what this is. This is one of my favorite beers that I recently discovered, thanks to my brother-in-law.
Now we get that.
Yes, it is Brew Vivant Love Shadow. Brew Vivant is all it's a Michigan company, and they're farmhouse ales, so they're a little bit
Farmhouse.
yeastier.
Cool.
Yeah, a little bit yeastier, a little bit more rustic. So this is a bourbon barrel aged imperial stout. So it's actually a Belgian imperial stout, and it's just fantastic.
Awesome. How many of them do you have?
I am only going to drink one of these because it's 12.4%.
Oh my gosh! And it's Sunday night, so
It's Sunday night. Yeah. It's a pint, so that's like drinking what, 3 glasses of wine.
Yep. Oh my God! Absolutely. So
Christopher.
Rox asked an interesting question. In your game, can say Asmodeus Archdevil grant spells to worshiper? The answer is, I would say yes, if you develop the you can just make them base clerics and 1e 2e. What fun is that, right? So you want to make up a lawful evil god. Probably I'd say lesser. Maybe Asmodeus greater. I'd say lesser still, which is still 6th level powers. And I would develop a lawful evil list. That's what I would do, Rocks, in that case. But the answer is yes. I don't see why not. I can see chaotic evils worshiping Demogorgon, right? I could see that, or even Orcus, right? I mean, Orcus in the role were like the 2 biggest that I can remember in the Horn Society. Am I incorrect on that, Anna?
Orcus, and Orcus is also part of various cults, and it's behind the Death Knights of Grey Kingdom and a whole bunch of other stuff. So Orcus is definitely someone you could have specialty priest for and stuff. But it's interesting to see how in different edition and how you treat fiends. In some ways, they are treated differently from gods, meaning the demon lords are not gods and deities. In my games, I treat them the same. I give them, they have what I called, not epic levels, but have divine tiers. So it's from Pathfinder version. I run in Pathfinder 3.5. I run beginners tiers, epic tiers, and you have divine tiers. So you simply get more and more, so that instead of major gods, lesser gods, and demigods, they have different tiers. And the demon lords are just like any other deity. They are immortal beings, period. So
Are they the equivalent of graders in yours or lessers?
the ones that run a whole plane, they're graders.
Okay.
So you can take like Asmodeus, who run the 9 hells. He's a greater god, and he has enough. Yeah.
Rocks,
Then you have like
question.
small demon. Yeah. So sorry.
Excellent. No, it's great, and that was a great question because I don't see why, especially for evil NPCs, why you couldn't throw in a bunch of
Exactly.
those
Yeah.
worshippers. Instead of
Yeah.
just having Ayus or
Mhm.
Tharisden. We
Yep.
always fought. We always fought the devils, especially with all their minions. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do it.
One of the other things that I have in the divine tiers is simply, it's not that if you're a demigod, it's not that your clerics can't use higher level magic. You can't have that many of them. They can only grant a certain amount of magic per day, so to speak. So your greater gods, they can simply have as many clerics as they can can muster, so to speak. But the smaller ones can only have a few, and that means that like a lesser demon that is on his way up, and he can't have that many clerics. So that might be a cult, and if they find a rival cult that prays to them in a different way, they might go out and annihilate them just because they want to have more clerics on their side.
Yeah,
so
chaotic evil is not. Yeah, this works
exactly.
that way
So
all the
so
time.
so that's so that's the and a good one, they will organize and have the few at the top and then get others and try to get more people to believe in them, and that's all the religion, because that's what the clerics need in order to get more of them to be more powerful, because gods get their power from either from fear or from devotion.
All right, so I'm going to answer,
Yeah.
Anna. I'm going to answer an Ekrai question right in
Yeah.
chat. I am not. Here's the thing: you may have just missed what we were talking about. So we don't just do old school 1E2 here; it's a majority. But I am an old school 1E2 DM. We have myself and Mark run our games. I run them every Thursday, and Mark runs his every other Monday. Brian Sublime BW, who's a regular moderator, and I've been friends with him since our WoW days back in 2004. He's a DM in our Saturday night specials every couple months. He's a 5e DM.
Yep.
And Anna and I play in his game, along with Will from Return to the Bandit Kingdoms, and the Nazrat, Timmy, one of our longest sub. So we're all editions, and this discussion is going to be all editions because Brian's
I can
talking
mention
5e.
that.
Yeah.
And my editions have been the last 10 years. I've run it in Pathfinder 1, and before then it was 3.5. Have been my favorite editions, and now I'm moving into. But I have to learn both 5e and PF2. So those are so we have various flavors to pick from here. It's great.
So and to kind of more answer the direct question there. Honestly, I don't think you can say one is more tabletop than the other. Like Jay's style is far more tabletop into it, like in where I do a 5e game, even though it's 5e, we are a heavy role play table. We have 8 players at my table, and so to do combat, I'm either throwing a bunch of stuff out there or it's absolutely trivialized. So for me, it's a lot of conquering through role play. We have sessions where we literally the only dice rolls are role play rolls that come out. Where Jay has minimal, not knocking you, Jay, but you might have an hour or so of role play in the beginning, and then for the next 2 sessions, it's relatively combat to combat.
Yeah.
So, I don't think you can say one's more.
I'm in between. I'm in between you guys, so to speak. I can have a whole session, just a big battle, and then I can have role play.
I think it's more of a DM. Like I know for me, like I live and die. Like my role play is my strongest aspect. Exploration is probably my weakest. So it's more of a. No, it's just, to me, I don't think it's an addition thing. It's more of a.
It's a game style thing. Yeah.
And mine's developed on what my players like.
Yes, I was just going to say that. It's up to what the players like too, because some players love to play with me, some players don't like it that much at all, and I respect both, so to speak. So,
but see, Ekrai, here's the answer to the general answer. There are no old school streams out there. Okay, there's a couple here and there. Low is one, Low 505 is one. So that's what we do. That's what I do So that's why we put down the old school tag there. I'm trying to catch the eye of the old school people, if that makes any sense, because 99% of the streams out there are 5e. So.
And then you have us heretics on that kind of moved on to modern editions, but it's fine. I played a lot of old school back in the days.
So the bulk of Jay's content is old stuff,
Yes, and I love it. It's awesome. Yep.
So let's get back to this
when
discussion.
He scrapes to the bottom of the barrel like tonight that he gets out.
Brian, I should have asked you a lot earlier. I'm like, oh my God, you got all the deity stuff. I'm like, I'm an idiot. So, I apologize for that, but I appreciate you both hopping on at super short notice.
Yep.
Warning time. Okay. We're going to go over. Hey, Taco, what's going on, John? This pile is Forgotten Realms. It's not going to scar you if you touch it. Okay. All right. But these 3 books are very helpful in our discussion tonight. Please note this. If you want to make a specialty priest using only these books, they're going to be overpowered. They give out, in my opinion, way too many spheres for the deities in these books. So you got to really take a look at the Greyhawk deities spheres, and we'll talk about that in a little bit on what I'm talking about for spheres. But these 3 are great references in moderation. Okay, so you'll see them scrolling by. You say, "Oh, Forgotten Realms, you guys are sold out." That's not the case. Even though we do have some Forgotten Realm deities in our campaign, that is true. So
They had some really good Forgotten Realms things about the Underdark and Drow and stuff that was fantastic. That are really applicable to Greyhawk.
so Ekray, I'll say this. Not to toot my own horn, but we're 1E2E hybrid. If there you go. Nice cheer from Skagit there. He wants to see that arrow must poke Ragnar Lothbrok in the eye through the shield. So I have there's a ton of videos on our that are, if they're not up on here, Twitch only keeps them for 60 days. I have a YouTube mirror. Lord with a space Gazumba. Lord Gazumba all together on Twitch. Lord space Gazumba. Almost every single Gabbin show we've done, and we're on number 66 is on there. There's a lot of great information about 1E2E on there. A ton of it. You know, because that's what we're talking about for the most part. So, and we always help out too. With questions, you know, I'm always here to, and I'll share anything too. Rox has a bunch of the stuff, and a couple other people, and Sean's got my critical hit tables, Geek Dice. So I'll share any of our stuff. We're free. We'll give you out stuff freely. In
if you have
of course.
questions specifically about 5e and balancing that kind of stuff, I've ran it since the playtest, and I'm a store organizer, and I help new budding DMs and that kind of stuff.
Sorry, it's too loud. I gotta have to turn that
down. He's talking about you get really boisterous.
That was awesome. There you go. Does anyone know what TV show that was from? Does anyone know? Yes. Sound effects are a little too loud. I'm gonna have to turn them down somehow in Streamlabs, but not tonight, guys. So it's a test.
Okay. I had the Twitch muted, or else I'd be going crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I was gonna say I don't hear it. So
Celestial is absolutely correct. Legends of the Seeker. A great
I thought
show.
They were making fun of Dave, like getting all loud when he was laughing and whatnot.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I will work on toning it down. I can't right now. Once again, I switched all. I got new music in, but I gotta figure out the levels and stuff, because when I'm sitting here and I'm testing it, I don't know if it's too loud or not when it broadcasts. So I will take care of that. You have to bear through it tonight. Sorry, I will get it done for Thursday though. So, but thank you for all the subs, and thank you for all the cheers. All right, so. I'm going to talk about this deity. It's one of my favorites. It's in our top 3. I think, Bill, if you're on. No, Celestian had it. It is Legends of the Seeker. Legend of the Seeker. It was only 2 seasons. It was an awesome show. It was actually books. Tim read the books. I think it's a series of books. It was good. It was on like about, I'm going to say 10 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago. Here we go. Tritherian. Okay.
Oh, yes.
I love Tritherian. Bill's character, he has a character named Trevin. He is a member of the Iron Brigade in Greyhawk, and I got him down as a 12th level specialty priest of Tritherian, brought up from 1st level. Tritherian is pure chaotic good, and they are really, really opinionated, and they don't like, not only do they not like evil, they do not like Fultians. They do not like, especially lawful neutral Fultus people. They hate them. So I use that to my advantage in the campaign to get a lot of tension built. So Trevin and Jandizer is the highest level that I know of in canon. She's like a dual class out of Greyhawk City. She's a hero of the Greyhawk Wars. And there's a lot of them all over the place. A lot of Furundi and the Shield Lands are all over. Also, Bladestorm is another one, and she's a multi-class specialty priest. She's a ranger specialty priest, and she's one of the Norwell headhunters. So they're all over the place. Brian, what's your ability for Tritherian? And I'll go over some of our...
So we just got our first Tritherian character, because we had a character death, and the new guy came back, or his new character came back as Tritherian Worshipper. So mechanically, we have Tritherian's Retribution. As a reaction, when you're hit with a melee, you can inflict 1 radiant damage back to the attacker. That goes up to 4. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but once everybody knows that 1 damage can be a make or break point at sometimes. So for the flavor, I really like this one. Tritherian Teacher of the Week. When somebody asks for help, you're not really going to assist them so much as you're going to teach the man to fish rather than give them the fish.
Okay, cool. Cool fifth edition ability. Tritherian has a lot of chaos spells, which when you think about it, is a lot of the god is very vengeful, god of justice, god of rune of pursuit, all that, right? Here's our Tritherian list. I want to show you this. Look at the mess on this. This is me constantly making additions. As you can see, it hasn't been updated in a bit, so I got spells all over the place on this from all of our new references that I always find and use. First level, they get tracking. They get tracking ability as a ranger. They can do at third. They get double damage dice blow once per day versus lawful evil or lawful neutral creatures. They can use wizard conjuration summoning scrolls at fifth. At sixth, they get +2 on saves versus lawful evil or lawful neutral creatures. At eighth, they get 3 every 2 attacks, and at 13th, they get 2 every 1. And like I said, that's independent of it. But they are not very good turners of undead. They're turn at level -2. So, wow. Okay. This is what's really good is, man, we're burning through on the chat here. And if I miss something, guys, I'm sorry. But hopefully someone will catch it with a question or something. But I love Tritherian. I know our players love them. I have a Fion geek. She was especially priest of Tritherian. She was not played in your group, but Taco knows her. She was played in the first group at Gen Con, and she also is a regular NPC of mine. And so we in a low level setting, and I'm going to be using her at PAX Unplugged and at GaryCon. I'll have that character, especially Priestess of Tritherian, for people to play. So lots and lots of neat deities. We're not gonna do the evils tonight unless we have a specific request. I think we're gonna keep it to player characters usage tonight. Let's go off the board here and say, do you have one that is not a deity and why? So let's do that. I'm gonna say which one would we like to do? Let's do our main god. This is one of our oldest main gods. This is pre-Greyhawk. So we, and if anyone knows about what happened in the original when Gary Gygax was playing, he used Thor and Odin as his main deities before they created deities. So they were using Norse gods.
But that makes sense, because if you don't have had the chance to develop your own pantheon and your setting, then you can kind of borrow them. So yeah.
So Tom brings up Gerlad, his character in the group we're running right now that's not playing. He's a specialty priest of Tritherian as well. Finnish. Let's go to the Finnish mythology, which is kind of a Norse ripoff a little bit. Right.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about the Finnish gods. Then I can help pronounce them. Maybe that's.
Well, Leviatar's in there, and Leviatar we have her as an evil god. But I have Ukko, and this is one of the few we'll talk about tonight. Off of Ukko is a supreme god of the Kalevala. It says he's also god of the air. They have what's called air maidens instead of Valkyries in there, and there's a picture. This is once again deities and demigods. There's your air maiden. This is the main god of the Winchesters in my campaign. All right, so everyone knows about the Winchesters. Lawful good. So I have no reference whatsoever. No spheres developed, nothing. I had to do this one from scratch. And so what I came up with was the following. And this is when we started doing specialty priests back in, I guess, 80, whatever, what second edition came out. What are we talking about, 88, 89? We stopped just doing clerics, because clerics almost died. Who would run a straight cleric with all the other stuff going on, with weapon specialization and with all the different magic user things that were going on, and all the specialty classes we had, like cavaliers and everything? Who would want to run a cleric? So we only have clerics in multi-class ability, and then you have your priest. Now, I know Brian and I talk about this a lot with 5e. It's all the spheres are the same for each deity, correct?
Yeah, so what it is when you choose a cleric, instead of being a cleric of this or cleric of that, you have your cleric of life, cleric of war, cleric, Tempest cleric. So it opens up to be you can worship any god, but you focus on this aspect of that deity. So
Cool. So technically, like I have a priest of Palor in Brian's game, and I made her light, correct? I made her light so she's got fire spells, which I
yes.
didn't understand that, but then again, I like the character a lot. So even though they all got captured at the end of our last adventure, so Uko can wear armor, any weapons, bludgeoning, but then longsword is their main weapon because that's what the Air Maidens use, are longswords. So they get stuff like at 5th level negative plane protection, at 10th level dispel evil, and at 11th summon an Air Maiden once a month. It's a powerful class in our campaign because it's
Once a month.
once a
Wow,
month
you
they
have
can summon
once
an
a
Air Maiden.
month spell. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. So they can summon
Yeah.
it, and an Air Maiden it's like 9 hit die or whatever, but that's at 11th
Mhm.
level that they get that
Yeah.
ability. So, but we don't have a single specialty priest of Uko in PC player character that has ever made it to 11th level. I think our highest one is one of Alan's characters. So even in a campaign 40 years old, you don't get these ultra powerful. Let me see what level up. Oh, Corellia. No, Corellia is 10th. She's one level short of being able to do that, so I forgot about her. Because, all right, so wait. Check Ekrai's question about dimension. All right. Brian, would you implement gods at 4th level dimension? That's like 4th dimension. Physical beings exist in their own planes of existence. I would say the way Greyhawk said they're physical, correct, Anna?
Yeah, I think that for
Good
the
question.
way I've encountered, yeah, because they can literally come to it, but there's certain ideas saying that they oh that was awesome, that they stay away because if one goes in, then they have some sort of understanding that you don't mess with the mortal affairs or something like that. What I've had, but the way I do it is that they are kind of they can take material form, but they live on other planes. Not all of them, because you can live on the regular plane too. And then the more powerful you are, the more shapes you can take, meaning aspects. They're a bit like liches that way. They can have a phylactery. They have a true form, so to speak, that they are a being somewhere, but they can have presence in more, meaning greater gods can be in many places at the same time. But the risky bit is that when they send down one of their avatars or their aspects, whatever you call it, that they can take form, is that then they are noticed. That's a form of divine magic, so that can be detected by other gods and stuff. That's why if an evil deity sends himself or herself down and start messing around on the in the Flanese, then the other gods would notice that because they can see it, but they can sneak in themselves without being noticed because that's not magical. But that's risky because then can someone kill them for good? So there is a sneaky way in, but that's also risky. And that, to me, in my campaign, is how I regulate that the gods don't go and do mayhem, because that's
Right.
risky one way or the other, so to speak.
Certain gods, especially evil ones like Vaprak the Destroyer, comes on the Primer Show plane all the time.
And I use actually lives on the prime,
and so does
it's his home plane. Yeah. And he's only a demigod, so he doesn't have that many. He can't be in more than maybe 2 or 3 places at the same time, and they are also weaker. So that's how I've done it. But there is, in traditionally, they had this kind of idea saying that there was some sort of understanding, and I didn't like that the evil and the good ones actually sit down around the table and discuss it. So I tried to figure out how it could work mechanically rather than through some sort of cultural understanding or anything.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you for that great answer, Anna.
Brian,
pick a deity you want to talk about.
Yep.
Let's just go with like the oddball of the group, Wastri.
Okay, we can talk about Wastri. Wastri can actually be a player character one. Wastri, the Hopping Prophet, a bizarre deity, right? But a one that is native to Greyhawk, lives in the Hool Marshes, not far from Saltmarsh, guys. So if you're running the Saltmarsh thing, you're not far from where Wastri lives. believe it or
Could
not.
it be a
So,
reason why I chose Wastry for the one thing we did the other night?
well, of course, you're not. Yes, the hopping prophet. Okay, now this one is on the fringes of being a player character one because this guy is character neutral with lawful neutral. I'm sorry, with evil tendencies. Because this guy thinks that humans are superior, humanoids can serve, and all demi-humans are fit to be slain, particularly halflings and gnomes and dwarves. Okay, so a really nasty one. Now, I have created my own spell for Wastry as a specialty priest. Hit Geek has seen this spell in action. Right, Geek? I'm not sure if they made the save or not, and so is Taco Turtle. And here it is. So there's a lot of good references for Wastry in one of the Earth journals. I'm sorry I don't remember the number, but you can add a bunch of spells to the Wastry list very easily. And I'm looking in the wrong book. I have to go in the NPC. I have them in the NPC book. See, look, I told you I got books everywhere, guys. What's your ability for Wastry while I'm looking this up, Brian?
Let's see here. So Wastry is a action or ability is Wastry's bigotry. When you make an successful attack roll against a non-human humanoid, you can increase the damage done by 2. And that increases that 2 at each level. Each of the proficiencies. The roleplay aspect is human supremacy. Unless absolutely necessary, you will not have dealings with non-human humanoids. We do not have a player that worships Wastry in our group. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, absolutely.
that
And
is
there's
so
a
cool.
reason. I
Yeah.
know Anna hasn't used Wastry. I know we talked about this. She's like, yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I haven't used her, but it's been kind of talked about, but I haven't really, it hasn't been. But Taco Turtle had an awesome question.
Okay.
How can IUs be allowed to be on the prime material plane? And actually, that's a great question. And normally, I don't think there is a. I think the standard answer for me in my campaign is that, well, in my campaign, any god can be on the prime material plane. But the normal answer is that he's native to he's actually a human being or
He's a Cambion.
a Cambion. So but he's born in a native of the prime material plane.
Grassitz, which is a demon, and Egwolf,
Yeah.
which is supposedly a human mother.
Yeah.
So
but
he's a Cambion.
Yeah.
And per
Yeah, so
rules,
he's
if
a
you
bit-
look in
yeah.
old school. Yep.
But in my campaign, he's a Cambion, so he's kind of a half outsider, so to speak. But he is on the prime material plane because he hasn't carved out a space somewhere else yet. He doesn't have anywhere else to rule. But that also means that he doesn't radiate magic when he moves around, so to speak. So he's undetectable. But they can kill him on the prime material plane
Absolutely.
if he's there. But in my campaign, he has some defenses about that I'm not going to go into yet. But my players will. If they face him, they have to, So it's
So real quick on Wastry.
Yep.
I created a spell called Wastry's Blessing, and this spell will bring the divine blessing of Wastry upon the targeted individual. If they fail or save, large knobby warts grow all over their body, and it causes them extreme pain, so they can't cast spells and things like that. It's pretty hideous. Wastry only gets up to 6 levels in spells. He actually is not considered a demigod. I think he's considered a lesser. But he does get up to 6 levels in spells, and his priests get jump like a frog, and as they go higher and higher level, they look more and more like a toad as they go.
Do they become toads when they reach really high level? Or at
no,
least
they become a hybrid of a toad and a human, and that's what Wastry thinks is the perfect mix, right? That's what humankind should become. I think that's the whole ethos behind it. It's a really disturbing priesthood. It really is.
Oh yeah, that's perfect term. Disturbing, that not only to themselves but to everybody else around
and
them.
Geek and Taco came across one once, so that was a good one, Brian, to pick. was Wastry. I'll say this: I'm Horror in the Hools. My joint adventure with Carlos licing my part. I'm running it at PAX Unplugged. I'm running it at Gary Con, so people get more chances of that one. Down the road, coming up in a month and a half in Philadelphia. So, Anna, pick one. Pick a deity from Greyhawk you'd like. Try to keep it PC.
We just have to get into the evil side of things here. So,
Okay.
so let's start at the near rule is kind of let's start at the bottom of the barrel, so to speak.
I have a specialty priest in Neural. I mean, it's never been a PC.
Yeah.
Neural, the Reaper. His list is
Yes.
very small because he doesn't have a lot of spheres. See, up seventh level spells, but
Yeah. But he's a greater god, right?
greater.
I think.
Yes, they get
Yes.
up to seventh
Yep.
level spells, so they get the massive
Mm-hmm.
spells like
Yep. Yep.
they can, and they're all reversed. They cannot use healing spells. So resurrection,
Yeah. How
restoration.
does that work with the?
Mhm.
Because well, you go first and explain a little bit the difference between if they're good and evil, if they can heal or harm, or how would that
They
work?
get reversible spheres. So, like
Uh-huh.
for example, it's like cure critical wounds. It's cause critical wounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just that.
Yep.
So their main. I use is the same way. They can't heal their own people. They can't heal themselves. It's kind of a problem, and it probably limits their power when you think about it. And they do not have. They are really nasty at 12th level. Neural gets destruction once per week, which is the opposite of, I believe, resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's opposite of regenerate. It's disgusting.
Yep.
So it's a nasty, nasty spell. So at super high level, these guys get really powerful. Brian, what's their special ability for you?
Oh, let's see here. So Nero gets a +1 on intimidation checks. That increases. It's called Nero's Promise. Just threatening and talking about your demise. And then the roleplay aspect is Seeker of Death. As all lives must come to an end, healing others is not something you take lightly. So
Okay.
I'm not outright forbidding them to heal,
Okay.
but they must weigh it really heavily. They have to have a good reason.
Cool, man.
We do not have one of those in our.
I would think not.
Yeah.
That's
in 3.5 Pathfinder, it works, especially Pathfinder. You have the positive and negative energy, so so you can a good aligned cleric can channel positive energy and heal things, and also channel positive energy to harm undeads. But and the evil cleric can do the opposite. They can channel evil or negative energy so they can harm living things and they can heal undead, but they can still cast the opposite spell. So evil clerics can heal, but they have to use their few precious spell slots in order to do so. So a cleric of Ayus can heal themselves, but they will probably not spend any of that precious spell slots on healing anything else. But they can harm a hell of a lot of things, but they can also heal undeads, like a good line cleric can
That's
heal
cool.
normal. Yeah. So
That's super cool.
Yep.
With I guess negative energy.
Yeah.
There's certain
Yep.
spells, and I know 1E, 2E, 3E, even like Circle of Doom, and
Yep.
necromantic, like necromantic bolt and things like that. So Wu Tang and Geek, I know you guys have your game on Sunday, which is cool. But take a look at what Brian has done for 5e. This is a 5e effects of his worshippers for each deity and what they
Oh
get.
yes.
It's
Yep.
really well done. And like I said, I'm not averse to showing 5e on our channel. And Brian has run 3 times on a Saturday night special. 3 times he's run. Look, he has a shirt even. So it's very well. And I played in three 5e games, all 3 of those, along with Anna and Will and the Nazareth. So it's a super cool thing to take a look at. So I'm gonna pick one. And then I'm gonna go over. I think it's a good time how I build a specialty piece from scratch. Hopefully, I don't bore you too with that discussion.
No, not at all.
I'm gonna pick one that is demi-human. How about that? We're gonna go to one of the coolest ones, dwarven one.
Oh yes, okay. Dwarven gods.
We're gonna go to Clangeddin Silverbeard. Okay. Clangeddin Silverbeard is the god of battle, right?
I love the name is so good too.
Yes.
Yep.
And let me show you his pick here. It used to be the only one that we've done for dwarves, and then we did more than afterwards by request. So we get to Clangeddin here. See here, we're almost there. Celestian Clangeddin Silverbeard. Bill Sasharscore and Builder Mastercrafter's character Trevin, the specialty priest of Tritharion, has a best friend. He's an NPC dwarf. His name is Brolin. I run him. He's a specialty priest at Clangeddin. So Clangeddin priest and a Tritharion priest are best friends. They both hang out in Narwhal now. They talk about all their limbs that always get cut off in battle, all this, and all their war wounds. and it's a cool thing. Clangeddin Silverbeard has a lot of powers. There's a lot of Earth Elemental Sphere spells in here. They get like spells. They can enhance their strength. They can do a spell. This is a nasty, nasty spell for dwarves. If you have a dwarven party, it's called Axe Storm of Clangeddin. It does the following. Every person who's a proficient with a battle axe gets 1 extra attack each round during the duration of the spell. So it is and that could be humans. That could be. It doesn't have to be a worshiper Clangeddin, and that's usable once per day. That's a really fantastic spell. They can inflict a triple damage battle axe blow at 13th level once per day. They get some really nasty combat effects. It's a lawful good deity. You can be lawful neutral, but in our campaign, it's mostly lawful good. Now, Clangeddin has a little bit of a lawful neutral aspect in my campaign with the Principality Ulic, the prince and his minions. But other than that, it's a lawful good base dwarf deity. We developed that priest list, and they have some really cool spells like Rock Burst, Silverbeard, Ignore Late Wounds. Really cool stuff. Brian, have you developed elves and not yet elves dwarves?
No, if a player was interested in it, so if I don't have the deity on the list, I'm not saying it doesn't exist in my campaign. It's
Okay.
just not one I have fleshed out for players to choose from. I have no issue if somebody approached me and said, "Hey, would you mind fleshing this guy out?" I'd gladly do it. The way I picked my list is I went to the back of the 5th edition book and I said, "All right, well, here's what they said for all of Greyhawk." I did those and then I ran it by you and Bill, and you guys added a couple of them that you thought was kind of like must-haves. So
And yeah,
he was
we worked
not
together
on the
on that.
must-have. Yeah, he wasn't on the must-have list. So
No, I mean because I'm gonna Illustrion. You talk about Merlin and Kellenin. Well, I have them both. Obviously, they're fantastic. I'm gonna show you how I developed them. We'll talk about that real quick. All right.
I added Kellenin on your behalf. I did not do Merlin because I know that was one you told me to do. But
I love Merlin.
I backed out just because there wasn't, to me, just
well
too samey, I think.
Well, here we go. We'll go to those 2 pictures real quick. We'll do Merlin and Kellenin. I just went by Kellenin, the Sword Lord. I know Anna uses him a little differently. And there's Merlin, Clint Eastwood, of course, the man with no name picture, right from Boot Hill. This is how you create a specialty priest from scratch. We're going to use them as an example. You need a reference for the most part for your first time. There's a great reference for. Of course, now you said I'm going to look everywhere for it. Where did I put it? The Slavers reference. This is where Merlin and Kellenin live. Of course, it's not in that pile. It's probably in this pile. Here it is. Oh, I have it over here because I'm working on a Hardby adventure. Here it is. Okay. Slavers. Right. This is my ripped up one. If you go into the Slavers book in the back, this is where we start. Hero deities, right here. Hero deities. Last page. Last page. Merlin and Kellenin are pre-written up a bit, so you already have for Merlin and Kellenin, Illustrion. You already have all the description about them. They're greater and lesser spheres. Now, what is a greater or lesser sphere? Anna, Brian, you want to explain what that is, as far as like types of spells, or you want me to?
No, you please go on because I don't use it that way. So please go on.
Okay.
Yep.
The greater lesser sphere is a type of spell, and there's a whole bunch of different types of spells. The book you're going to need to do this is this. This starts everything off. You need this player's option book. Player's option spells and magic. It should be pretty cheap because it's really not really. It's one of those. This book here. You need this.
Can you get it as PDF on
absolutely.
RPG?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Yep.
Absolutely. If you go into this book, inside, there are 3 pages of spheres. The reason I say go to this book is because it's pre-done for you. 3 pages of spheres. I put them on cardstock. So here are your spheres: all astral, animal, chaos, charm, combat, creation, divination, elemental. All 4 elementals. I'm sorry. Guardian, healing, law, necromantic, numbers, plant, protection, summoning, sun, thought, time, travelers, war, words, weather. All here. This list covers all up to 2nd edition books. If you're using a book beyond that, you're going to have to manually do it yourself and figure out what sphere it's from. any spell 2nd edition or earlier, you got your sphere here. Anything in Tome of Magic, anything in Unearthed Arcana, anything in Player's Handbook, it's all here. So I take the Merlin list. Merlin spheres are the following. Okay, and it says it right on here, Merlin. Here we go. Major spheres, all astral, elemental, healing, protection, travelers. Minor spheres, creation, necromantic. What does that mean? You take, if it's a minor sphere, say creation was one, right? They get only spells that are up to 3rd level in that added to their list. If it's a major sphere, they get all the spells added to that sphere to their lists up to the level that their priest can cast. Merlins can only cast 5th level spells. So you don't have to go beyond, you don't have to go 6th and 7th with Merlins. So it's tedious, guys. But once you get a hang of it, it's not too bad. So you take those lists, you compile it, and you end up with a spell list of. Now here's what you got to do. A couple tricks. Number 1, don't give especially priests special druid spells unless there's a reason for it. Sometimes this list gives them, like, you should not be giving out those keys. Keep the druid class separate. That's my opinion. Keep it separate from priests. All right. You want to keep the flavor of the druid up. Don't give out a lot of those druid spells. All right. You'll end up with this. Here's your list of Merlin. Five levels of spells. You got roughly 20 spells of each, a little bit more, 25 up to 5th level, and you got your list. This bottom thing is all the books that I used right here to make this list up. I have some 3rd edition stuff on here. I have some other reference books. I have the Relic and Rituals Elestron I've talked about. All right, so Player's Handbook 3 has some spells that are not in Player's Handbook 2 and 1, like Holy Smite is in 3rd edition. Shield Others in 3rd edition. Soundburst is in 3rd edition. It's not in 2nd edition. They're great spells. I pilfer from, everyone talks about this. You pilfer where you can from good other editions, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even other games, if you want to, or game systems.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Prayers to the Faithful, another Forgotten Realms reference. Lots of spells per deities in this book. Greyhawk Adventures has certain spells by deity in here, along with the From the Ashes adventure cards. Has Greyhawk deities with specific spells that they need to get. Like Ayers has Screaming Skull, and what's the other one? There's 2 spells that are in the From the Ashes adventure cards.
Bone Chain.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, there's like, I think I have about 30 different spells for Ayers. Greyhawk Adventures, and there's some other cards and stuff here.
You gotta find these references all over the place.
Yeah,
I will help you if you need to want to develop something. I'll give you some hints of where stuff is. Yep. Slavers, like you said, Slavers has Merlin and Kellenin in it, and the Earth Dragon, which is a great evil deity. It's in that book, so that's where you get those.
What about the Elder Elemental God? I know that there's been some interesting.
Good question.
Yeah.
I don't have one developed. I don't have Loth developed either. I'm right. I've kind of ad hoc made one sometimes, but those are 2 I probably should make for evil because we use them so much with the Dark Elves. I should do that.
Yeah.
Good question. Bastion of Faith. Heronius and Hexter is in this book. All right. This was a generic 2nd edition book that came out.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course, I think I left that one downstairs. So that book has a ton of stuff on Heronius and a ton of stuff on Hexter. The spell lists, custom spells, has all the spheres, everything in there. That's a place to get your Greyhawk deities from there. We talked about Faith and Avatar. We use Leviatar from Deities and Demigods. We use Uko, which isn't in there. We use Ilmater, of course, is a Finnish / Forgotten Realms deity. The spheres are crazy, guys. Watch yourself using these books. All right, you don't want to give them all that. You got to cut some of them out because it almost gives you like it's ridiculous. Too many. It's like double in some instances. So just be careful with that. But from that, take the god's abilities and figure out some special abilities, and then take the spell list, put it together. Make sure the armor isn't overpowering, and you got yourself a specialty priest. I know it sounds difficult. It's not that hard. So that's what you do. Because Hexter, Elustrian, Hexter's easy. The specialty priests for Hexter and Herones are actually written up in those references. You don't have to make them; they're written up completely. That's what I do. And we have 39 of them. So, how do we get a specialty priest, Brian? How do I make it? What do you know in my campaign? What has to happen?
I'm assuming the player has to bring like a nice cheese spread, maybe some meat,
That is perfect. Yep.
you know.
Yes. Hey, Ukador, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a bit. Are you doing stuff on Mixer still? I think that's I haven't seen you guys in a while. Good to see you, man. So here's what you do. Every 1 to 2 years, we bring up a new group because we just can't help ourselves and we start over. And it takes Bill 6 months to paint all these figures, right? Because we have to have metal figures and everyone has their 3 characters. I have a rule. It's called the rule of 1. You come to me and you say, I want a specialty priest made up of this one, and you give me the reason why, and it better be a good reason. And then I'll make one up. Because making up specialty priests is tedious, and now I have less and less time. So the last 2, Mark has snaked. So the last 2 I've done is Flandel Steel Skin, a gnome deity, and I've done Ula, which is kind of a deity that really doesn't get much attention, but it's a good Greyhawk deity because Ula has human, dwarven, and gnome. Anna, you know much about Ula? Hopefully I didn't
Not
babble
that
too much there,
much.
guys.
No, please continue. This is awesome.
Okay.
Yep, this is so
So
good.
Brian, what does Ula do in your campaign? Their special abilities.
Sorry, I was,
That's okay. I know you were answering someone's question. That's awesome.
Yep. So this is an oddball one. I really struggled with this one mainly because there wasn't a whole lot out there. The way I developed these is I went to Greyhawk Online Wiki, which is a fantastic source, took what they had there, kind of pared it down to what I think people would care about. And so there wasn't a whole lot with Ula. And so for her, we have the roleplay aspect of gem heavy. When it comes to splitting the loot, you're going to take gems over coin, even if you're going to get less total amount, just because
Okay.
you want those gems. The nice side of that is the mechanical piece is called Ula's Perfect Stone. Whenever you receive a gem, you can analyze it. If you doing a percentile roll, there is a 5% chance that gem's base price is actually increased.
Nice.
So
it's appraisal almost.
Yep. And then the main piece to that is you have to be the follow of Ula has to be involved in the transaction for selling that stone to explain why it has that higher value. So it takes away the aspect of us having one follow Ula and then them getting all the gems, appraising them and handing them out like candy afterward.
So so Wu-Tang, if you want to know where Ula is, right here. This is the main
Yes.
place to get Ula, hardback Greyhawk Adventures.
Yep.
Ula has no picture whatsoever. All right. So Ula is a major deity too. It's what's crazy
Right.
about it.
That was one of the ones that really confused me for it being a bigger deity to
Yep.
not have a lot of information out there.
Absolutely,
I
Brian.
think it's because it's both a dwarven and a human one.
And gnome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And gnome. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All 3.
So it's
Depicted
about
as a dwarven
mountain
woman with gnomish features.
Yeah. So it's one anyone who's connected to the mountain hills and mountains and stuff that comes with it. So yeah.
So can I sidetrack us off?
Sure. No, absolutely.
So, talking about the gods. So the whole reason I did what I did with my 5e stuff is because for me, the only time I ever found players picking a deity is if they were a druid, or druid, cleric, or a paladin. Rangers sometimes. And so this was my way of getting players to connect with the deity, because I feel like deities are a really big part of these campaigns
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And so
Yep.
for them to not pick I'm not saying that everybody had to pick a deity. So for me, if you're any sort of divine caster, you have to pick a deity. Everybody else, it's optional. Out of my players, we have 8 players. We have one guy that chose to remain agnostic. And like he acknowledges they may exist, but he'd rather not piss any one of them off by worshiping the wrong one.
Okay.
So how does it work in your guys' campaign? Because there's no carrot for your characters if they're not a are a divine caster to seek one of these powers out.
For us though, Brian, it means a lot for your background, and your ethos is really developed based on what deity you worship. Like I said, all the Winchesters that are lawful good, they all worship Uko, a lawful good deity. Um, the Tritherian people, they're if they're not a priest of Tritherian, but they are someone who's seeking revenge, or like all the Norwell hen hunters in the Wild Coast, they're almost all Tritherian worshippers, because they're out seeking revenge. They're out they're tracking. They're rangers. They're bandits. They're a whole bunch of different things. So,
Is it a requirement of your character creation though?
is it a requirement? No, but it's a highly recommendation, and because like we have a lot of, especially with the newer groups, we try and really, the old characters are set in their ways, right? You're not going to take a 12th level, like a 12th level paladin who may be a paladin. Like Alan's got this character. When we were really starting off in the early 80s, you could worship any deity from the Deities and Demigods book before the Greyhawk deities were set. I think he worships Thor. I'm not going to change it now. There's no point. But all the newer characters, I really want them to pick a deity. You know what I mean? Because we want that ethical, that ethical skew. Now, Fritz, everyone knows Fritz. Fritz is, I think, worships Ralashaz, the god of ill luck, which kind of makes sense for his character. Everyone knows Michael Baton is a specialty priest of Zilchis. You know that, right? You absolutely know what Michael Baton is. He's only interested in money. He's only interested in currency, right? You know that from the start, because he worships. He's a Zilchis person, and he's got followers who are the same way. It's all about the transaction, right? So that's what we try and set. We have a deity. Here's another one. We have a deity, and let's talk about this one. This is a good one to discuss here. Give me 1 second. This is one that came out of a supplemental article, and is not one of the base elven gods, but it's a god that we use, and I love it because it just makes perfect sense. It's called Araleth Letherinal. He is the elven god of drow hunting. All right, so he is right there. All right, now this came out of this article. See if of course, I got stuff everywhere. The elven god of hunting drow gets a lot of light spells. He gets a lot of spells. He's chaos, but he is. We get some renegade drow that worship this character, that are particular Waltz characters. That come out, and they're really interested in fighting and eliminating the dark elves. So that is a good one that's specific to a cause, and that cause is because dark elves in my world are very active. It's not Forgotten Realms, Drizzt Do'Urden active, but they're active. So that's one that would be specific. It's a good question, Brian. I think Anna works that way too with deities, right? You want your characters really to...
it's interesting. Yeah, characters don't have to have them, but there are clear incentives, in-game incentives for it, because deities are real, meaning they have real impact, and it's not questionable whether they are or not, because you can get real benefits from having them, and they also. There's a lot of social cultural aspects, meaning the market is run by Silchus, and if you want money or whatever, so you need to have good standing with them. And it also gives you, meaning that gods are out there actively seeking worshippers, or gods either get their strength from worshippers, or people either fear them or worship them. That's how they get so the characters of Nero, they need to go out and scare people. Meaning they need to make sure that people are scared of dying and create undeads and mayhem and stuff, because that's how they strengthen their faith, their church, and their religion gets stronger from it, so to speak. So that's how. So that way, meaning that there's a lot of clerics and others, they will either try and convert you, or they would scare the hell out of you or kill you in order to make others scared of your gods.
So that brings up an interesting, was going to be my follow-up question is, in my campaign, I allow followers to convert from one religion to another. Like, some religions, have at it, just go. Some religions, there's like you gotta disavow yourself, and then you have to essentially, depending on what you're going to apply, take some sort of quest to get that new follower trait. How are you guys
Well,
open to that?
yeah. First of all, I have different religions, so to speak, or faith. Meaning, elven faith, for instance, that they don't go and worship even clerics. They are the elven pantheon. So elven clerics, they pray to and have services to different elven gods depending what it is. If they want to go drow hunting, they use that god, and if
Okay.
Corellian for maybe general purposes, and then you have the god of love and hunting and the night and the moon and stuff like that. And the same thing with druids. Druids is simply the the Flan, the old faith. It's an old religion, and they have many different gods. They have Beery if they want to bless new kids coming to life, or they want to bless the crops. They have maybe another one, and in order to pray for nature to be on your side, they have certain so that's a different religion. So druids, in me, they are pantheonic special priests, meaning they have a multitude of gods they can adhere to. And then you have others like the clerics of Ayus, for instance. He's only him, so to speak. And if you digress just one little bit, and if you convert, then you will be a traitor of the faith, and they will try and hunt you down forever.
Right, but
That's a
so
good point.
that's a good role play aspect to have
Yeah.
there, having that hunt. But
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
so if you did have that specialty priest or that priest that is devoted, would you allow a player character to say, like, you know what, maybe role play aspects, they'd have to have a reason behind it. They can't just say, I like to spell this more.
No, it's exactly, and it has aspect, because if you go and become even a follower of that church, they will notice you and they will give you perks, but that also gives you control, and they want you to support them and stuff. I mean, if you stop supporting them, then if you're just a general follower, that will be like, doesn't mind. But evil cults, if you say and you go and simply help them a little bit, and even good cults, so to speak, if you support them and then you transgress and say, screw you, I'm not going to do it, they will be penalizing you. Whether you will be excommunicated, and they don't want to talk to you, and stuff like that. So religion has, just like old religions used to be and are in other parts of the world,
Pantheons.
meaning if you have to be impaled, you either have to worship Poultice the right way, or don't say anything. You have to at least pretend to worship him. Otherwise, clerics will come after you. So
And throw another heretic on the fire.
Exactly. Yes. And yeah.
Wu-Tang, he mentioned, like, you can't go right from one to another. That's one of the, like, if you look at the chart I have out there, you have like the greens and the yellows and the reds.
Yeah.
If you're going from like a red to a green, that's a major quest. If you're going from a green to green, it's relatively okay. And if you're going from like a green to a yellow, there's something minor you'll have to do.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's cool. Yeah.
Can I mention something real quick? If everyone sees a picture up, Victoria, does everyone know Victoria? She's on our Discord, Greyhawk Online. She's on a lot of the Facebook pages, and she does a lot of artwork. That's a painting of Heronia she did. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
All right. Just want to give her credit. She heard about this show going on, and she said, "Oh, I have these. Can I give them to you to show?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I'll give you credit for them." And there's one other one. Oh, I just went by it. Fultus. She did Fultus as well. So I went right. I always go right by things because I'm too. There we go. That's Fultus. There, Fultus. So she did it. Yes. So I wanted to give her credit for that tonight and say thank you so very much for sharing them. All right. So let's talk. Let's talk about that. Fultus.
But no, you didn't answer. I want to know, because you're very set in your
ways,
specialty priest stuff.
Okay.
So would you allow a PC to go from specialty X to specialty priest Y?
It's a good question.
Assuming there is good role play reasons.
I've had in the entire 39 years of playing, and I've had. Let's do before that. We've had a couple of religion changes, but that was based on what we were doing in the game. We started getting away from using all the deities in the Deities and Demigods book. You know what I'm saying? Where you could pick Melnibonian and Nawan and all that stuff that was in the book, because we didn't know what we were doing back then. But as far as a changing over, I think it's a serious for a specialty priest. It's serious, because you've dedicated your time and your life to the powers that they have given you. I think it's I can recall one instance of it happening. That's it for a specialty priest in the game. Now I've allowed alignment changes, of course, but with a lot of reservation. We had an alignment.
Let your characters pick their alignment.
Absolutely.
Oh man, they suggest their alignment, and then like, no, dude, you're really this.
Well,
No, I don't let they can state what they want to be, but in my opinion, characters they kind of start out with then however they play the character, I will simply give them points in various directions, and then I will warn them that or kind of openly.
My old man.
Alignment fluid is like
their
what we
ways.
call it.
I'm older than you are.
Yeah.
I'm not as old as either of you.
But my guys are set in their ways. Now, we've had an alignment slip. If anyone remembers a few weeks ago, when we did Hidden Temple of Erythnol, and remember the kids running around, you're going to die, and they're doing Ring Around the Rosie? Do you remember that? And then Benean, Alan's character, the elf, went in and just started slaughtering them all? That was an alignment slip moment for me. So he went from chaotic good to chaotic neutral right then and there, and he's got to work his way back. But he's not a priest. So we've had alignment slips, but the priesthood. Once our players are good at developing up, and I can't recall the one I recall the most, which is still in long-term chain. It was not a priest. It was a multi-class. It was a multi-class gnome illusionist thief. Sorry if I'm giving something away. I don't know if Walt's on or not. His character got a helm of opposite alignment put on his head. He went from neutral good to neutral evil. What would that do?
Got a couple characters that would be very happy about that. We have a guy that we literally call Evil Tim.
Yes.
And then the other guy that is just Tim, he's actually probably more evil than Evil Tim.
Okay.
He didn't know that until a little bit later. Like, oh man, we named the wrong one Evil Tim.
Yeah, so Roxanne Gaetano remember the incident with Benean slaughtering all the little kids that were just taunting the party. But yeah, so it's a great question, Brian. I would say if I had to deal with it in the course of gameplay, it's going to be a serious change attempt coming, really serious. And just think about that. Like I said, I can't recall a willing changeover from any of my priests we have in the game.
I honestly didn't expect you to even allow it. I mean, no offense. I'm not saying, oh, Jesus, sticking them on just, the way your gameplay is. Like, I just figure you guys are much more, not saying rigid, but like you guys are very set in your way. So, the fact that you even said like you'd consider it, you'd allow it, with good reason.
I don't allow anything with good reason. I'll give you an example.
I mean, I know at one point you probably had a player that would maybe bully you into it.
Have a lot of things. Like we have a dwarf Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah.
The problem for
we're
me
talking about the happy Bill, right? We're talking about the other Bill, right? Yeah, that's everyone. He's talking about this individual. I have to link it. The No Just No guy. Here, look, I got him with sunglasses on.
Okay,
there
you go.
I
had to mute myself. I was laughing.
That gentleman, that guy with the No Just No, picking his nose with sunglasses on. That's who he's talking about. So none of you have had the pleasure of meeting him yet. So, or maybe will ever. But Brian knows him well. So
sorry,
that's okay. That was funny, man. That was good. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Anna. Sorry about that.
No. I was saying for me, it's I let the players play, and then I kind of assign in secret, and they can kind of believe whatever alignment they want to have. And then if they're playing a good cleric and they kind of veer off too much, and I will simply say that you feel like you don't get your spells, and then you might be in trouble, and the god sends its deity will send messages saying that now you're on shaky ground here.
I've withheld spells from some clerics.
Yeah,
some
yeah.
priests.
So I'll do that. So to speak.
Done that.
But an interesting aspect comes when you have their like alignment shift spells and magic and stuff like that. Then I wouldn't simply say now you're evil. You have to play your character evil. I would simply take it as your character. You will like if you go out and kill that person, demand you will get some good. It was like I have a if they get a sword, for instance, that it makes them evil, they will get, every time they kill someone, they will gain hit points or other mechanical benefits. So I will kind of bribe the player into realize that, ooh, if I go out and kill someone, I become more powerful and get them down that drain in that way, so to speak. So lead them into the evil that way. So it will hunger for blood, so to speak, and see if the players fall for it.
So here's a
And some
couple.
players do.
Absolutely, but here's
Yep.
here's the thing that Brian I think is going to bring up. He's got newer groups of players, which don't know the flow of the like people. I'd say with a newer group, they don't really understand what a priest or whatever the dedication is.
I
No,
got players at my tables that are older than you.
oh, okay. Well, sorry to hear
But
that.
I think I am no. Our youngest player is 29, or maybe he just turned 30. We have quite a few guys
Okay.
that are in their mid 40s. So while we are in a public play forum, our table has been set now. Like, we've had the same players for like the past 3 years, and our oldest player at the table since the beginning of 5e.
Okay.
So, while we are in a public play forum, we do keep pretty consistent. We keep consistent tables. We allow guest people to come in if we have the room for it. But no, we're a solidified group. Like, it's not like
That's
week
good.
1 Joe is here, then week 2 Joe's at that table. No, these are solidified gaming groups.
My apologies, but for example, in Mark's group where his players are all new,
Yeah, no,
I could see a little more flexibility, right? Because you really don't understand how to role play a priest or role play a character based on your deity, and I can understand that. And but my guys are set in
we
their
have
ways.
a guy that has the D20s that is 1 through 10, and he has them colored different colors to just signify 11 through 20, like the old wood ones.
Right. Yeah, the old one they didn't have 11, and yeah, you had to color half one side. The original box set ones, absolutely.
Yep.
So I want to answer a question Geek Dice brought out. Evil characters being redeemed. In my campaign over the last 39 years, 2 of the major antitheses in the entire campaign. First, her name was the Claw. That's all they knew her about. She was a high-level bounty hunter. She dual class to a cleric, and she's like 90 some years old now, and she lives in Wales Castle, and they redeemed her. She became, they redeemed her, and then Makarash, the elf mauler, was redeemed, but then he got assassinated, so he's dead. So redemption is possible, and that's part of like converting evil to good. Is part of like the struggle between evil and good is part of the game, right? So that's absolutely you could do that. Definitely, but it's a great question.
We had a character that was in one of our campaigns, Thessalon. He was a agent of chaos. I forget who his deity was. He was like a pure chaotic, neutral chaotic guy, and he just did whatever would cause the most chaos, but not get him into too much trouble. And this deity, or the main big bad, had the same deity, and unbeknownst to the player, he's telling both the player and the big bad, you got to get with this other person. So like the big bad is trying to get with him, he's trying to get with her, and he in the end wound up combining both of these people into a I forget the name of the bottle that sucks you in, kind of like a genie bottle, pops you
in reverse.
It's an iron flask.
Yes, there we go, iron
yeah.
flask. But that both of them wound up getting popped into an iron flask, and now that duo of just elements of chaos appear in games randomly. Like anytime an iron flask is found in a dungeon, everyone's like, don't touch it, because they're worried it's going to be these 2 agents of chaos. But yeah, that was a good, I don't know why that came up. I thought
no, it's all good.
It's all good. And we kind of did.
We digress all the time, which is great about this discussion.
So part of it is like it kind of came through like he was trying to redeem the bad guy, but the bad guy was also trying to corrupt him, and it wound up that the deity was just screwing them both over.
Yeah, and I kind of love to have that. Those are great ideas, Brian. I love it, and I love to have new players that don't know all the stuff and the ins and out of the game, because that way they kind of can think outside the box, and that actually makes the game more fun, and they have to kind of learn and get the feel for what it is to be a specialty priest, or just be the character who's having a deity they follow, so to speak, or just as a regular worshiper. And I also try to use as much in-game rather than mechanics to actually go with them. So if it transgress or whatever, it will have a cultural impact or like a society impact. You can get excommunicated and stuff like that from your, just as a worshiper, or even worse as a cleric or especially priest of a religion. Then you have a lot of responsibility and stuff, so that we keep an eye on you and stuff. So I try to solve a lot of these things in game. But there's another aspect now we're thinking about, especially priest. I tend to power my evil clerics have higher power than the good ones often. And one of the reasons for that is, as a good priest, you have a lot more allies, meaning you're part of usually the Tutarians are an exception to that, because they are kind of not that much of an organized faith. They are more like they are good guys, but they're individualist and out there on the frame. So they are strong as individuals. But
So
some of the other ones, perks, you get perks that are not necessarily personal things, but meaning if you're paladin or Palor, you have an organization around you if you're part of the whole Knights of Holy Shielding, whatever. So you might not have all those mechanical benefits directly, but if you toot that horn and go and ask for some help, you might be 500s coming with you. But in
Right.
evil ones, they are simply the worst assholes out there.
It's kind of the anti-paladin deal.
Everyone. Exactly. Yeah.
Anti-paladin has no friends.
So
Yeah,
with
meaning you have no friends. Exactly, no friends whatsoever. Which means that if you come up, it's
Except
only
monsters.
the strongest one ever. Yeah, they are really powerful if
That
you
makes
survive
sense.
it.
So with my my build, what I did, it's kind of similar. It's not so much evil versus good for power shift. It's more so how rare would this type of follower be? So
Okay.
how hungry is that god for that follower? And kind of the more rare it was for that follower, I gave a little bit stronger powers, but I gave a more detrimental role play aspect.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
if
it's
we
general.
look at
Sorry,
like
go on.
Therizidin, you know, he gets a +2 to damage, you know,
Right.
but you just got to bring chaos everywhere you go. Like you are just anything you're doing.
That's
you're
as
doing
evil
whatever
as
you
it gets,
can.
Brian.
Yes.
And Greyhawk, that's as evil as it gets as Therizidin
No,
worshippers.
exactly. I'm not ever expecting there to be anything anybody
PC
worshiping
wise.
that one. Yes, but I wanted to put the option out there because.
But if you ever do Shokanth first, then the Forgotten Temple of Therizidin, there's a cult of Therizidin worshippers in there.
And the other good thing is because I have these, I can use them on my freaking NPCs too.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the great thing. That's why I have it separated now, so I can get this book, my evil NPC book, while they have the good book. Because Alan always, you know, he has by the end of the night he has 12 books around him, right? Every book he's grabbed, so they're all over the place, you know. So you gotta have your reference books for whatever you're doing. So
What time are we going to, Jay?
What's that?
What time are we going to?
We're only going until 9:30. We got 26 more minutes.
Okay, I just not we don't have to do it now, but I picked out a couple fun gods.
Good. Well, let's pick one.
So Heronius. We talked about Heronius.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, Heronius is all about being chivalrous and that kind of stuff there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while it doesn't sound that exciting, there's an additional mechanic here. So Heronius Glorious Defense allows you to add 1 AC to anybody within 10 feet of you. However, if the person is of a sexual preference to you, I forget the way I labeled it, you get double. So instead of it being a +1 to AC, it's a +2 to AC. Just because you're going like, hey, I'll protect you. So
you're disturbed. No, that's kind of cool.
Well, no, I had to, because my players would like so abuse it. I had to word it as
like, so meaning that so most clerics will be bisexual because that will give them a mechanical.
No, so remember,
benefit.
this is not just clerics. Kidding. This is just followers.
Yeah, remember their abilities. Yep. This is the cool thing about Brian's campaign. All the 5e abilities are based on who you worship is per every character.
Yeah.
Oh, so not only clerics of it, but worship.
Everyone.
That's very interesting.
My Palor priest
I'm going to pick up some ideas from that. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's
so
fantastic.
This is what I was saying, because I just found like the characters were, if you weren't a divine caster, you didn't give a shit about deity. So this was my draw to...
It's a smart move.
You know,
that
this was
is a great move. Yep, that is fantastic. So yeah.
So out of that Bastion and Faith book, Heronius, has a huge spell list and a lot of abilities developed, and a boatload. I'm probably talking about at least a dozen custom spells. Shield of Arrhenius at second, but the big one, we're just going to go right to the killer at one at the end. It's never been cast in our campaign, but let's talk about it. 7th level, Miracle. Okay? A miracle is an event that is inexplicable by the laws of
For
nature.
some reason, the way you said that just made me think of History of the World Part 2.
It's a miracle.
Miracle.
Yes, so it's basically a wish for a cleric. It's pretty nasty, and you have to be beyond. I mean, because in 1E 2E you have to be 16th level as a cleric especially priest to cast 7th level spells. So you gotta be super powerful to cast this anyway, and I think they require you to be 18th to cast this. So yes,
Wow.
you have a miracle as Heronius, which is a cool one. Now I'm going to go back to the ones Illustrium was talking about, and I'm going to go back to the slavers. I'm going to talk about Kellenin. All right, and Brian, you have Kellenin.
Yes, Kellenin is actually one of my other ones I had selected to talk about because it's Kellenin. I was trying to think of this deity. He's all about balance, right?
True neutral.
Yep. So I was trying to think of how to encapsulate balance. So Bring Your Balance is the role play aspect, and that is you're trying to preserve life, and so you're going to choose whatever outcome is going to bring the most natural, neutral, true balance. So it's just going to kind of try to bring things back to the normal state. But he actually has one of my favorite mechanical aspects, which is power shift. So what power shift allows you to do is you can subjugate yourself to a -1 penalty on any roll. You have to let the DM know ahead of time. And the next time, during the next round, so during the round before your next turn, you can grant any friendly creature within 30 feet of you a +1 bonus to any one of their rolls.
Okay.
So you're taking a penalty to give them a bonus.
That's an interesting.
As with everything, this increases to a +5 penalty and a +5 bonus. So
that's a once per day effect.
That's a once per day effect.
Once per long rest.
Yes, once per long rest. Yes. Because for me, long rests are longer than once per day. You got to be in a comfortable area to rest.
Not only is Kellenin neutral, but he is also the Sword Lord, right? So
I debated doing something with swords, and it just I didn't want to.
Yeah, I have a different, but it's very interesting. But my take on Kellenin is different. I see him as the neutral aspect is that he is the master of God of the ones that want to learn to use swords in fighting as well as possible, meaning fighters and others who want to do it. So I sense the specialty, the clerics of Kellenin are simply master sword fighters who don't care who you're fighting. That's not the point. The point is to actually learn to use the tool of the sword as effective as possible in combat, period. So I see them more as the ones that devote their teaching to using the sword, and they also I haven't thought about, I have never used that, think about exactly what kind of magic, but they get some spells around it and stuff like that. And their role is more like, if you're really wealthy, they go to like big cities and stuff, and they are like these Asiatic monks and sit in a temple and perfect their fighting technique. And then you can come and pay money and devotion and learn from it. Anyone can do it. And also you have like royalty, kings, and other powerful rich people. They simply hire one to teach them and their kids and other top henchmen the art of fighting, so to speak. And they will teach anyone who is interested in the fact of perfection in combat, so to speak. And that's the neutral aspect. They don't care about what you're using it for, as long as you use. Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
No.
Okay.
Please go on.
So I've got this because I want to answer geeks, and it's going to be a lot easier to talk about it versus. Yeah. So this is my forgive me not. So with Kellenin, I really, really struggle. I wanted to build something because he is the sword. I want to build something around that, and I felt like I don't like to pigeonhole people into using certain type of stuff. There, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love if I could go back to certain races and classes. I would love to do that with 5e, but it's just 5e is not. I've thought about it, and it's just that restriction. Well, it's cool. It's not exactly conducive to player happiness. So as much as I wanted to do that, and Kellen, I think, is a really cool god. I
Oh yeah.
limited that aspect just for player happiness. Okay, geek. So the way my long rests work, there is an absolutely fantastic 5e conversion called Adventures in Middle Earth. It is a 5e conversion to Lord of the Rings Middle Earth gameplay, and I use their long rest rules, which is a long rest could be realistically 8 hours in a 24-hour period. However, you have to have your creature comforts. So if you're traveling between point A and B and you're spending 5 days on the road, unless you're happening to come across an inn or some sort of
Makes
building
sense.
where you're getting some sort of security, you're not going to have that time for that long rest. And so part of that, I did that because it makes 5e a little bit more dangerous, because I think 5e post level 3 is relatively safe. The same reason why I did it, anytime that you get knocked unconscious in 5e, you gain a level of exhaustion, because it was just causing so much rubber banding that you'd toss a fighter up there, fighter go down, cure him back up, because you heal from 0. Fighters goes down, you cure him back up. And so now, that's the same reason why I have that level of exhaustion thing there. So it could be a very short time. And what that boils down to for me, I also use the Adventures in Middle Earth travel rules, and there is the scout, I think it is. There's roles that you can assign your people during travel, and the scout can determine whether or not they find something that would allow for a long rest during that travel time. So
It's super cool that you pilfered that from a source that you liked and you pulled
Mhm.
it into your
Uh,
Greyhawk.
That's the
your
way to
5e.
do it.
it
That's
is
the
Absolutely.
way to do
I
it.
will just say, like, just aside, the Adventures in
came
Middle
in.
Earth, they have complete redone mechanics for 5e. They have completely redone classes. If you are of the Lord of the Rings nut, like I am, and you play 5e, you owe it to yourself to check out. It's done by Cubicle 7.
Mhm.
I think they're the same people that did the 3e conversion as well.
I think Cubicle 7 has been involved in some
Cool.
time with that. Yeah.
Was it the One Ring or whatever it is? It's the 3e conversion. I think they're the same people that do the 5e conversion. You owe it to yourself to check it out. It's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Brian. So real quick for me on Kellen and 1E, 2E, they are the only specialty priest class. And here's how I know we don't have abusers in my campaign. Out of all 39 specialty priests, they're the only one that gets weapon specialization. They can specialize with one weapon, a sword, and they get fighter attack rates around. So you're talking about a 7th level specialty priest of Kellenin. There's only one in the campaign. She's an NPC. She gets 2 attacks per round with her longsword. And also, like at 10th level, they can turn their weapon into a flame tongue or frostbrand for a certain number of rounds. They also can sword dance their swords, so they can they can make it into a dancing sword at certain earlier levels as well. Their spell list is very basic. It's not anything. There's no special spells, and it's only up to level 5. Excuse me. Rox asked a question. Leviator, an evil deity, obviously, and also a Forgotten Realms finished deity. So let me talk about that real quick. Leviator, lawful evil in my campaign. Maiden of Hurt, Mistress of Pain. So you can imagine what they get. They get all these whip spells. They get Kiss of Torment. They get Eye Bite, which is a really nasty spell. They can cast symbols at higher levels. So think about it. Leviator is the main deity of my evil organization, the Dark Brotherhood. It's the oldest evil organization in my campaign. It goes back to the early 80s. And Leviator plays a major role. The main antithesis, her name is Holly. She's like a 16th level priestess of Leviator. They wear all white, and they're just a really badasses. And if anyone watched the Invasion of the Watchers Towers whole campaign I did, the Earthnol forces were being led by the Leviator priests and the Dark Brotherhood who have made a reappearance. So there you go. Leviator is nasty. Yeah, I've been taking drinks. It's an allergy thing. It's not yeah. It's kicking up. So Anna, how about another one, a PC based one? What do you think?
And let's see here. I was going to say Bakab, but that's kind of
Bakab's okay. Bakab's
it's an interesting, it's an
Yeah.
interesting because it's the god of magic and stuff. So it's kind of a very specialty narrow interest, and also it's a special piece that kind of bridge the between divine and arcane magic that comes in the 3rd edition and Pathfinder very much. The do you have that division in 5e too? Arcane and divine magic?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
that is
yep.
actually the 2 divisions is Arcane and Divine.
Yep.
So we have Tim, Pete and John from Pete and John's Teamster service. He dual classed John did from Necromancer to Specialty Priest at Bacchus. He's true neutral.
Oh,
And
okay. Yep.
they get a lot of time spells. So their major spheres is Astral Charm, Divination, Numbers, and Thought. Some crazy stuff. So they have this spell called Idea. You really got to look at them in the player's option and Tome of Magic to understand what they do. And they get Guardian Summoning Time as a minor. So it's a really, really different spell list compared to a lot of the pure healing classes or combat classes. So especially Priest of Bacchus is really neat because it's completely different. Another Far Lane's different. I'm going to talk about this one. I'm going to talk about Ralashaz. I have to before we end the night.
So before you go to,
Go ahead.
you can't skip Bacchus without so Bacchus, you think it'd be something really boring like increase to Arcana, but for Bacchus you can take a -2 in a spell attack roll to grant a +1/2 spell damage.
Oh, okay.
So you have
Nice.
a harder time to hit, but you do a little bit more damage.
Do you have anyone who's Bacchus influenced in your campaign?
No, we actually, the only arcane caster we have is a sorcerer. No, we have a sorcerer who is actually we have a sorcerer, and then we have a warlock, and a warlock is deity divine based actually.
Wu-Tang brings up a great point, and that's the way it is for Ouija for us too, is we allow certain ones, like Jeremy can do fire elementalist spells as well, Wu-Tang. So, and we make them write them into the spell book, so they have them, and they can only take 50% of the spells in those, those types, necromancer or fire or whatever it is, in their spell list. Now, if they only have one spell, they can take it, but if they have 3 spells in their spell list, they can only take one of them out of that spell book, and then 2 as their prayed ones. That's what we kind of do with that. So I'm glad you like that beer, man. Ralashaz, the god of bad luck, right? Ralashaz is we've had one specialty priest of Ralashaz in the campaign. They only can wear leather armor, and they have to use staves, which is really weird, but I guess that's what Ralashaz walks around with. Very small sphere, Chaos Charm, Divination, Guardian, and Numbers as major. They have spells that are really good, like you get to roll twice, kind of like advantage. They get advantage, but if they roll a 1 on either of those dice, if they do a fumble, the worst possible effect happens. So if they even save on one and fail on another, and it's a 1. So say they had a fireball, and the fireball was 10 die 6, but the mage rolled 30 points. So if they save, they take 15. If they fail, they take 30. If they roll a 1, they take 6 die 10, the max 60. So Ralashaz has some really nasty effects for Tempting Fate, cap neutral deity. So it's cool. It's a cool one. It's a very, very niche worshipping. At 9th level, for example, they get gain saving throw base 18 versus spells which would normally allow no save. So that's a cool advantage they get. So if someone casts a maze spell on them, which everyone knows is the most hated spell of all because there's no save, you're stuck in that maze, they'll get an 8. It's kind of like having a, what's it called, a scabbard protection on all the time. So that's a pretty neat thing. So you have Ralashaz in yours, Brian?
I do. Ralashaz, you can lower an attack roll, melee, magical, range, doesn't matter. You can lower the result by 1. The dice has to be rolled. You can't know the result yet. That's the mechanical aspect. The roleplay aspect is reckless abandon. As plans always go awry, you normally proceed without plans.
Awesome. Look, guys, I know we tried to stuff a ton of stuff in
Yep.
into 2 hours, man. This is crazy, and I think this is why our next 2 weeks, and Anna's already going to be definitely on them. We
Yes,
stretched
that's
the
planned.
next one
Yep.
into 2 weeks because we know it's going to be. So why
Yep.
don't we talk about some stuff that's going on? Anna,
Let me get Hexter in real quick.
Oh, you want to do Hexter? Go
All right,
ahead.
I'm gonna do
Hexter.
Hexter.
We'll squeeze
So
Yeah,
Hexter.
I can
Hexter-
be on for a bit, so no.
Yeah, go
no
ahead.
worries.
Right, go ahead.
So
Squeeze Hexter.
Hexter is very simple. Like
Okay.
the mechanical pieces you get to get +1 damage just because Hexter, he's the freaking God of War, Discord, massacres, chaos, conflict. He's a butch dude, right? The interesting thing I like about Hexter is while he's an evil deity, he's not about absolute slaughter.
True.
So if your enemy surrenders, the roleplay
okay.
aspect is you are more likely to take them prisoner, make them a slave, than you are to outright kill them. So here's an example of, for me, a deity that is going to be a big draw to a lot of evil characters, especially because you have the mechanical aspect of doing more damage. But then you have that role play. Here's where I talked about, you're doing more damage, but you have that role play aspect of as much as you want to be that evil asshole, you want to be that evil asshole, but take somebody prisoner, sell them to slavery, not just outright kill them. So it brings a different level of evality to it.
Yep. I totally agree. That's great points.
And Hexter in 1E, 2E gets the battle arm spell, which is really nasty, and that's also in Bastion of Faith.
Yeah, he has 6 arms, so
right. And so as a priest of Hexter, you can cast that spell and then it's a 4th level spell. So here it is. So at 7th level, you can cast this spell. Priests of less than 10th level may create 2 battle arms. So now they're going to have 4 arms. Pretty cool.
And you get multi-attack ability.
Exactly, or multi-shields. It lasts 1 round per level.
Yep.
And with our feats, if you have the extend feat, the spell extension feat, you can add 50% to that. So you can make it 1.5 times. And at 11th level, they can create 4 battle arms. They'll have 6, just like Hexter. That's a great spell for Hexter. We have Hexter in a lawful neutral aspect because Bill wanted to play them. Bill the Master Crafter loves Hexter. He's got a couple guys that are like Shadow Mage, Priests of Hexter in our game, a half orc. So I allow it and to make it more of the militaristic end of it, but with a little bit of an evil twinge to it. So that's why Hexter is actually in the PC book and not an NPC only for us. So Hexter's right on that border. Good point, Brian.
So Grindel, you would have got inspiration at my table. So one of the things with 5e, I absolutely suck at doling out inspiration. So inspiration is given out. Players can nominate for inspiration. But I also give inspiration at my table for good puns. So if this was 5e and you were at my table, you would have got inspiration, just so you know.
So, guys, I want you to all know the following. So, Brian has done 3 Gabbin, 3 DM games on our. It's all in VTT Fantasy Grounds, which is cool.
Oh, the next one might be with what's it called?
What, Roll20? What?
No. The new version.
Oh, fancy! Oh, yeah.
Because it's like coming out in December, right?
Unity, yeah.
When is that coming out?
I thought December.
Oh, cool. Yep.
Brian, how far back were we?
First one was in like May, I think.
No, okay. I got it right here. If you go to our top bar on videos, everyone, Saturday night special, Greyhawk Mystery Along the Janus Stream, Fantasy Grounds 5e. It is 22 days ago, the broadcast. It's myself, Anna, Brian, Will, and the Naz. Check it out and check out Brian's DMing style.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
so much fun.
We all have a blast playing.
Oh
it.
yeah, those games were fantastic.
Yeah, and,
I must say that it's great. Yeah.
So Lena no longer has Elfie.
So for anyone who thinks I don't do 5e, that's not true. I do whatever my friends want to do on this channel.
Yeah.
So
and I'm the one that I love to play in both other settings and with other systems and stuff. But when I run in Greyhawk, I want to run in my games in Greyhawk and the past decade. But now I'm looking into either. I will probably switch to PF2, but I have to for other reasons next year. I will have to run in 5e, so I need to learn that too. So to get up and up
Got a
to
good
speed of
source in
it.
me, Anna.
Yes, I was just going to say I need your consult. You have to pay you some consult money here to get me up to speed on.
Oh, you let me
finding
pilfer your maps all over the place.
Yes, we all. I mean, come on. Look, I got a map in the background of the
Yeah,
broadcast.
yep.
I hate
guys.
to say it, like I had players talking about like rubbing one out to one of your maps that looks so great.
Thank
They're
you.
like,
That's
Oh my
awesome.
who does this
gosh.
map? I was like,
Mhm.
here she is.
He's
And
got
she's
too many
like,
beers
"Oh."
in him, guys. All right, so Anna,
I don't even have one beer.
Oh
into
my
it.
gosh, Anna, what do you have going on?
Well, right now I've actually, this was supposed to be a secret project that I maybe mentioned to my patrons a little bit, but I needed to do a little bit of a just fun diversion. So while we've been chatting here, I've actually been doing serious work, and now I'll have to spill the beans here, but my everyone will get it eventually in a couple of months, but my patrons will get soon what I call a river map, a special map that covers the water systems of the Flanies. So you can tell what is where you can go with big ships, where you need a canoe, and
Oh,
so on.
that's awesome.
How well you can travel different rivers, because
Do you have it for the whole marshes?
it will be for the whole Flanies, and because I had the rivers on a separate layer, so I just need to expand them a bit, so that then I can color them differently depending on how navigable they are in different areas, so to speak. And so that's what I'm working on right now, and it's not that difficult. I just have to read through, and the reason that I could dig into this project, there's one technical reason. I have it on separate layers, so it's not that difficult to do in Photoshop and Illustrator. The other reason is that when you go back and read about the rivers in the fantasy, the setting book from '83, and I think the later Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, it's actually mentioned how far up the rivers are navigable. So I'm going to color them according to those details. And then some of the smaller rivers don't have that in text. So I just have to do a guess and an estimate and decide, so to speak. So that will be a kind of a cool map if you want to do river-based adventures. You can see, okay, here we can have an ocean-going vessel, and here we need a smaller one, a barge, and here we need a canoe to go.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, so it's been something that I've been in the works for. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and when I did the upgrade when I redid the terrain last year, that's when I separated, and I actually took a week and hand traced every damn river and every coastline by hand, tracing it. It took like 80 hours or so, and I traced it all.
Gosh.
So I had all the rivers and all the oceans and lakes on separate layers, and that is something I can now use, because now I can do this in a matter of a day or so. I've done half of it while we were talking during this show, so I've done half of it. So now I probably need another day and then read, so probably 2 more full days, like 20 hours of work, and I will have it done. Yeah,
That's awesome.
so
So,
that's the latest. Yeah.
Anna, where are you going to be in December?
In December, we'll be in hopefully in your basement, and it's not as creepy as it sounds like. It's because your awesome gaming basement. Well, I will go to PAX Unplugged. I'm going to, before I go to GameHawk, but let's talk about PAX first. So for PAX Unplugged, that will be in Philadelphia in, what is it, December
6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah.
Friday,
so
Saturday, Sunday.
I will work for Sirenscape for the con, so I will be in their booth. So if you want to come and say hi and talk maps or games and stuff, you can find where the Sirenscape booth is, and I will be there quite often. And then I'll be gaming with you guys a little bit, and I want to check out, because Jay, he lives just next door to
6
there,
miles from
Yes,
the
yeah.
convention center in wonderful South Jersey. Maybe a few miles more, not too far.
Yep.
But
Yep. So I'll pop
lot
over
going
and
on.
see that awesome basement for myself and see if it's
Yes.
yeah, is that awesome?
I'm trying to get together an all-star crew for the Thursday night before. And what about Gamehole Con's going on? You said
Gamehole Con is coming up in 2.5 weeks. So that's going to be in Madison, Wisconsin, and it's one of these
Beautiful
kind
town.
of mid-size con. So it's kind of awesome. And I have a seminar together with Alyssa Faden. I'm not sure if there are tickets left. There might be 1 or 2 tickets. So if there are any tickets, grab them now, because they probably fill up the last. So Alyssa and me will have a seminar where you can ask any question, and we will try our best to talk as much as possible about maps and stuff. That will be so much fun, because Alyssa Faden is simply a fantastic cartographer.
Go get yourself
specializing
an
in-
old-fashioned at the old-fashioned.
And Carlos will be there too.
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely.
So that will be, and a lot of my gaming friends will be there too. So it's going to
cool.
be so much fun.
And I'll have something to talk about with Anna and as soon as we hear from Brian. So are
Yeah.
you DMing this upcoming Wednesday, or are you a player?
So no, I'm a player in our Genesis system for the next 2 weeks,
Okay.
which gives me time. We just wrapped up our kidnapping. We resolved our issues with the kidnappers. I don't want to make it sound like our people are kidnapping people. And so now I gave my players quite a few options, and they want to investigate some things in the whole marshes. So we were killed. We had a player killed by a black dragon, and so we're going to settle a score with that at one point.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
That's the Eye Tyrant giant.
That's the Eye Tyrant.
Yeah.
Yes, I love my Eye Tyrant.
That's from like the Madness set from years
Yeah.
ago.
So so the whole marshes, I'm giving them a couple of options. So we're going to do quite a bit. There's a wizard I made up named Etrix who has a cache somewhere in the whole marshes. They found a dead body that found part of the cache, but not all of it. So they're going to go find the rest of the cache. They are going to attempt to settle the score with Aris, the black dragon who killed one of the team party members. We are going to do a after adventure type deal to Tomb of the Lizard King. So a lot of people had a lot of interest in the Tomb of Sakatha. And instead of running Tomb of the Lizard King, I thought it'd be more fun to do Tomb of the Lizard King, the adventure.
Thank you.
I5, is it, Jay?
Yeah. No, wait a minute. Hold on. Because guys, anyone who's from my group, don't pay attention to what I'm doing here or looking at. It is I2.
I2, okay.
How do I?
So yeah, they are. There's a lot of people that had interest in the Tomb of Sakatha, and then they found out as an adventure, and so they were really excited for it. So instead of running I2, what I'm going to do is I2 happened 40 years ago. Some adventurers came and took care of the events in I2. So this is going to be after events of that. And then the Sahagwans, as you guys might remember, they had the Iris of the Moon, and the Iris of the Moon has been used to make some.
Whoops, that's when I gotta turn it down. I gotta turn some of them down. That's one of the ones I gotta turn down. Sorry.
So it's been used to make some very, very nasty powder that has been used in the slave trade. And so they're going after the Sahagwans that you guys let get away. So there's a lot of stuff we're going to be doing in the whole marshes through the end of the year.
Cool.
You know, who knows? Maybe I'll run something for you. Maybe you'll let me do one of those face thingies on your game, and I'll have to learn 22E.
Hey, man. Tim is coming up shortly here too. So we got a lot going on. So all right, I don't know where to start. First off, thank you. Did you see now that we have founders badges? So Brian, you have one. Tim has one. The first 10 subscribers to my stream, because I'm not a partner, oh well, gets that first thing. I think it's really cool that they did that. I have it on 2 other streams. I think it's really neat to show that. They're doing a lot of great things. The channel points thing is great. If you get 10,000 points, you can give a non-special hero point to anyone you want in our adventuring parties. You can do all sorts of other fun things in chat. You can get a VIP badge if you don't have one for a week, all sorts of stuff. So I really like what Twitch has been doing, but we are really swamped here. Now, we're not on again until Thursday, but we're going to finish Carlos Lysing's fantastic adventure to Tenebris Deep. What a first half that was. Man, that was frustrating. The Dark Creepers frustrated the hell out of everyone, which is great. And Carlos is on chat from the convention in Florida, taunting everyone, which made it even better. So we're going to do that. And then Anna is definitely back for the next 2 weeks, because the next 2 Gabbins... Dragons of the Flannis, okay? So we're going to talk, Tim, I need you on. I need you on for next week. First week's gonna be general. We're gonna talk about the Dragons in the Monster Manuals, the Dragons in Fiend Folio. We're gonna talk about the.
Oh, are you going to go with like the weird ones, like the gym dragons and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. We're going to talk about some of the unique ones. We're going to talk about the Oriental ones, the Asian ones with flavor. We're going to talk about Tim's favorite, the Gem Dragons. This is from a Darlene cover, Dragon 37. Here we go. There you go. That's an Emerald Dragon. So we're going to talk
Really?
about them, and Tim used them in his
good
campaign, the Knights of the Eastern Sun. So we're going to do dragons for the next, because we figured it's not going to be able to be crammed into one. Next 2 weeks. Now, there's a chance the second week, 50-50 chance, the second week may get pushed back. I'm working on a very special guest. That special guest says yes for that date, which is right before Halloween, the day after Tim's stream. Then we'll just push it back a week or two. But if not, it's going to be back-to-back 2 weeks. Dragons of the Flying Ace next to on our talks. I have another adventure. I said I wasn't going to do it, but coming up after we're done this Thursday, the Thursday after, we go back to Harby. So Gitano, Grendel, Rocks, you're going to see Michael Baton again. He's not going to be in the adventuring group. We're going to use the group Reckless Indifference, who we haven't used since one of our very first streams over a year ago. We're going to use that group, and we're going to go back to Harby. So for an adventure called Repercussions in Harby. So after all this war is going on, what happens there with one of the adventuring groups that got targeted by Alita and Orbelos for destruction. And yes, we're going to go back to Harby a week after next. Now, conventions. If you are PAX oh my gosh. If you're going to PAX
Unplugged. It's over 2 hours. Come on now.
If you're going to PAX Unplugged, the free play is up. It's on the Discord server, Greyhawk Online. It's on the South Jersey Discord server. You can just tell me if you want in one of my games. I have the first table in the main library room for both my games on Friday morning and Saturday morning. I got the perfect spot. Every single person walking in has to go by our game table. It's really cool. So I have openings. I've already had sign-ups today for the first game on Friday. That level is going to be 3 to 5. It's Horrors in the Hools. I'm going to run that again. Then I'm going to run on Saturday morning. I'm going to run an adventure I ran about 20 years ago in my campaign called a Delve into the Lord's Tomb. If you know what the Lord's Tomb is, it's basically an underground mausoleum in Greyhawk City. So,
but are
cool.
you doing a Greyhawks kid?
Are you doing a Greyhawk Kids one? No, I'm not going to do a Greyhawk Kids one.
I think you should do. I mean, not that that's something I'd want.
You mean on a Sunday, a kids one?
Yeah, like
you know what? That's a really good idea.
At one of the conventions, I think it'd be great for you to do a Greyhawks Kids thing.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to. That's definitely not something you broadcast, but I mean,
it's a good idea. I mean, we have a Greyhawk Kids stuff with my son and Bill's son running.
Right.
We do that. We just don't stream that at all. So,
right, but do it at one of the conventions. Get some of these kids into it.
It's a good point. And Sunday is Kids Day. I don't know if my son could sit through it though. They're taking him there, and he gets. We'll see. Because they like playing in our basement because there's stuff all over the place, So
Shane to jump on with me, and we'll just so he can play me on whatever's going on.
Yes. So someone on this chat has already signed up for one of the games. If you want to, just let me know, and it's in Philadelphia. It's the second time I've done PAX Unplugged. Dan is going to be there. Alan Growy may be there. The Grow Dog. There may be a lot. I'm trying to get some people from channels that are coming to come over, and we're going to do a Thursday night, very special game, a one-shot in my basement, and stream that the night before PAX begins. So we're going to have a bunch of fun. I know I'm missing a ton of things, but I don't want to hold you guys too much longer. Tim's. I ran my version of Tim's ad at the beginning. Tim is up in 2 Saturdays. Tim's adventure is going. The next part of the City State of Invincible Overlord. Cannot wait for that. It's high level and it's fun. It's 1E and it's a blast. So we got that going on. Also, for next March, Anna, myself, the Future of Greyhawk group.
You're talking about GaryCon.
Talking about GaryCon. got a new sub. Thanks, Slug, for that. And yeah, I will turn the sound down on those guys. I'll figure it out. So it's loud. It's loud. Absolutely. I will figure out how to turn them down for Thursday. Gary Con, we got a lot going on. The Greyhawk team. I have I have a streaming and technology seminar with myself, Carlos Lysing, Nightheart Gaming, Frank, and Prater's Rejects / Wizards of the Couch. Jimmy Duffy are all going to do that. Anna has her map making seminar.
Yep, 2 hours.
When is that? Because that's not a far drive for me.
No, it's in Lake Geneva.
No, yeah, it's like a 5.5 hour drive.
Okay, you should come. Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
Yeah, because like I said, for Madison, for me, it's 6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I go there for work occasionally. That's why I said you
Yeah.
gotta go get an old fashioned at the old fashioned if you've never been to Madison.
We are partying every night at GaryCon, Chuck, because I run my stuff in the morning. Damn, here comes an allergy attack.
Yeah, and Carlos is a night
Someone else
person, so
talk.
he's up night. Uh-oh.
Anna, why don't you talk a little bit while I cough here about what you're
Okay,
going to do?
yeah. I was just going to say that, yeah, GaryCon is cool. We're going to have, apart from having individual, I will have a 2-hour seminar talking about my maps and stuff, show some new cool stuff that never been, I will have some stuff there that never been shown to anyone before. And then we have the Greyhawk fandom renaissance that we had last year. We go into, or this year rather, we're going to have that next year too. So that will be a panel discussion with, I don't know exactly, 5-6 panelists, something like that. And that will be great fun. That will be the future Greyhawk group, so to speak. So that will be a lot of interesting discussions about Greyhawk as a setting and fan creation stuff for it. So that will be good. There might be some special handouts and stuff. You never know. There probably will be for my, I plan to, on my seminar, to have a special handout that I will only print in 50 or so examples and then hand that out to people who are there. So that will be one of the perks. You get something that you can only get that way, and or you, if you're my patron, you will be able to get it too. But somehow we'll see if I can get that printed and send to my top level patrons as well. We'll see, but I can't promise that because that might cost hundreds of dollars. We'll see, but I have to, but at least it will be in PDF form to all my patrons before I go to GaryCon, and it will be printed form to people who are there.
And I am going to have, I'm hoping I should have it's a cheesy giveaway, but it's cool with my 40th anniversary logo on here because it'll be our 40th year of the campaign next year.
Oh, so, yes, you have to get
that.
Yep,
so we'll have that. I'm DMing the first 2 days. I've already submitted them. They've already approved. Mark is DMing on Friday. I'm DMing on Thursday, Friday, with the seminar probably on Saturday. So we got a lot of cool things going on. There'll also be a Greyhawk online.
Yes, it will be a Greyhawk online seminar as well too. Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna have 4 seminars for us here. Anna has one, I have one, Icarus has one, and the future Greyhawk group. So 4 dedicated Greyhawk. Well, mine's gonna be about streaming technology, but it'll be a lot of Greyhawk.
Plus, Carlos will have a bunch of games.
There's gonna be a ton of Greyhawk people here at GaryCon. Hopefully, Brian can make it. Marco's definitely coming. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Here's something else I forgot. Thursday night. So. Disfamist, we have a giveaway for one of our sponsors, Stratagem. We're going to have subscribers don't have to be on. There's a subscriber and a follower giveaway. Followers need to be on. And so we're going to have that's our next giveaway is this Thursday coming up at the end of Carlos's. We have a Reaper giveaway at the end of the month on Tim's stream on Saturday night because I want to go for a record. Saturday night tends to be the most busiest night.
You hurt me, Jay.
Yeah. Hey, we just got the major agreement, right? After your game. So we're on Tim's stream, we're going to have a Reaper giveaway on that Saturday night, and that'll be our 2 giveaways remaining for October. So, guys.
Did you announce what the giveaway on Thursday actually is?
Yes. Well, I would if I had it in my hands. So I don't have the stuff here yet. They sometimes... It's planning to be
it's so good.
The DM Essentials kit, planning. If I don't have it, I have some other things I can give away if they don't get it
Dude,
to me.
I
in
use
time.
those tiles all the
Yes.
time.
Well,
Instead, like I love my 3D printed stuff. Don't get me wrong, but like to just like break out, like I need just a. The nice thing about the 3D, the tiles that they have there, they're 6x6, so it's 30 feet. So you can easily go like I'm going from square this to square this in the same in the next round. Like so, like it's very easy to count 30-foot segments. It's fantastic.
so if I don't get the kit like I'm supposed to, I have a tile set I'm going to give away in its
Which is
place.
what I was just that tile
Yeah.
set's fantastic.
And then I'm supposed to get 2 more DM screens for one for another sub and one for follower. So we'll have 3 things we're going to give away. If they give me the stuff, if not, we'll have 2 things to give away. So they should get me the stuff on time for next Thursday. So did I forget anything else? My God, I probably did. But guys, thanks, man. This was another great. Yeah, hey, I don't mind mailing out stuff. It's a cost of doing business, and thank you all. You're making it easier for us to do all these giveaways. And like I said, this agreement with Reaper is huge. Bill is ready to paint a lot of these custom stuff. We have a shipment coming in this week with a ton.
I'm sending them stuff. You don't know.
We got a lot of stuff coming in. The Reaper has
should
been
do that. I should
really,
email
really
some
generous
3D.
with our agreement, with them sponsoring us, and I cannot wait to show you the stuff that he's going to be doing. Oh, the fundraiser. We're going to push the fundraiser that I had planned back to February, right 2 weeks before GaryCon. I have commitments from 3 other streams. One stream has promised to start at 4 a.m.
Ooh.
Okay. And yes, Carlos says he's a night guy. He will start the 4 a.m. part of it. We're shooting for 20 hours, over 5 channels at least. And then I got the storyline. Nightheart Gaming is
I might
in.
be able to talk my people into
Okay,
something.
we got some cool things going, and we're going to talk about the charity. We may go with Children's Hospital again because it was so successful last year, but that is scheduled to be sometime in February. Love to break the record. We raised over $1,000 last year. I'd love to crush that. And I think we had. What we have, Tom, and what we have, 300 followers then when we did that last time. So I think we got we had generous people then. I think we could really crank it up, and that's a good time. Why not 24? Because then I need someone to go midnight to 4 a.m. Mike, whew, maybe, you never know. It's just tough. I mean,
You see if we can get a European one or something.
yeah, it's 4
maybe
hours.
Skagus or something. Yeah.
It's 4-hour parts. That's a good idea. And
Yeah.
it's 4-hour parts, and then to get the story all kind of conjoined together is difficult over channels. But it's kind of like a heavy metal where the stories don't have to be completely intertwined. Mike, so and it's a blast. We have a lot of fun with it. Of course, we are the final act on that Saturday night, and we'll put the dates in. But it's just November's not working. I can't get my guys here. It's just not working, and so. It's always on a Saturday night there, Babunsky.
Let me mention now when we're going into next year and stuff, I'm also working on the 576 map.
Yes.
And there's a bunch of, I did a bunch of heraldry that my patrons could see. A lot of the Great Kingdom IRD heraldry, a whole bunch of it, that's coming in late October in a month, coming to everyone. So that would be a whole bunch of new cool heraldry. And then we'll see what people say. If some of that heraldry is probably good enough, so we'll be on the final map, and some of it might not be good enough because some of it is a lot of it was my own construction, so to speak. Some of it is probably really good quality, and some of them might be more questionable. We'll see. That's things that I've used for my campaign. I just thought that my patrons needed to have a look at it, so that's coming too. And this fall, or towards like the end of the year, Christmas, there will be a 576 map.
Awesome. Thank you all for a great show. We got, like I said, Thursday and Sunday are our streams for next week. Thursday, Carlos' Adventure, and Sunday we start on Dragons. I want to thank you so very much. Brian and Anna were like last second because Marco had a personal emergency. and it was great because I'm an idiot because I should have asked both of them to come on in the first
No, you're not
place
an idiot. Yep.
because the 5e aspect of it and what Brian's done with Deities and what Anna brings to the table with her aspect of things is great. So guys, we'll see you in a couple days. I'll get the sound turned down on all the Celtic music that I just got because I'm tired of ding 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 from the Streamlabs. You know what I mean? So. But I'll get that worked out. So we'll finish this up. We'll go back to we'll go to Tim's. We'll do Tim's to close out the night. All right. So we'll do Tim's original thing. Thanks, and we'll see everyone in a couple nights. See you all Thursday. Have a good one.
It's the weekend before